we can do what's Hondo on the mic. From Leo's Paradise, random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels, faceting, Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting punch screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping 5 videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. The rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the Sunday Special. How are all you Vital Idols doing? It has been a minute since we got to do one of these, son. It has been a minute. I am stoked. Between some of y'all and the react requests and some of the things that I curated that I wanted to see, we're going to have a fun one. I made y'all a promise. On Friday night when we did Neon Leon, that when we got to the Sunday Special stream, everything's been so political as of late between the UK and Australia and obviously the US. It's like, no, you know what? For this stream, no politics, all fun shit, all videos that are just like, look, don't get me wrong, there might still be some really dumbass things for us to comment on culturally, but we ain't doing any politics, and that's what matters today. Alrighty, so who we got in the house? We got Enzo here. How you doing, Enzo? Daxon, our best mod in the whole damn land. Philip Morgan, or as Dax first name is, Philly Manilli. Golden Apples. Yo, Golden Apples, I saw that you're working on your Steam page. Way to go. Mad congrats. We got Pouty. You have a lovely Pouty is here. And yes, I am awake. I woke up about an hour ago. I won't lie. I stayed up all night resting my voice. So yesterday, it came to my attention that my voice was starting to go. It's like, oh man, this is rough. My voice is starting to go. So I need to rest my voice. So I spent all night, I was drinking fluids, and I was silent. I must have played video games from like midnight to 8 a.m. Midnight to 8 a.m. Just complete silence, music on in the background, gaming, so my throat would be nice and moist for today's show. We got Cookies. Cookies fucking ready. Sergeant Garatina's in the house. How you doing? Yamato is here. How you doing, Yamato? Netflix Foreign is in the house. I don't know why that Stream Elements thing came up. I don't use Stream Elements. So Ranos is here. Silk Song C. Oh, dude, that Silk Song shit was hilarious. Love it. Love it after. Oh, we love it. Dude, love it. But yo, what up? How you doing? Alrighty, guys. Let's get into it. We're going to start off with something simple. It's a 3-minute video. I ain't seen this, obviously. I haven't seen any of the things we're going to react to. But considering I am replaying through Persona 4 right now, I'm replaying through Persona 4 for the first time in literally years. This, and the algorithm must know it, because this popped up in my timeline. What your Persona 5 waifu says about you. And it's only 3 minutes long. Alright, so this is obviously a meme video. But we're going to check it out. Let's see what our Persona 5 waifus say about us. Let's go. Let's get it.
What your Persona 5 waifu says about you. You want to be worshipped by your partner, and you probably dated Rise in Persona 4. You've gotten into approximately 276 Reddit arguments over which hairstyle is better for her.
I don't even have thoughts for whose waifu is Kasumi. No shade, nothing against Kasumi. But I don't have any even like roast words for you. You're just sad. You're sad. Kawakami. Look, Kawakami is most people's fan favorite waifu. Let's see what they gotta say.
You had a crush on a teacher at some point in your life. Your favorite part of Persona 5 is getting massages, because you've never been touched by a woman once in your real life. You probably look like this guy. When you were a kid,
Damn. All right. Damn, Kami lovers getting fucking roasted. Holy shit. Look, I see the love for Kawakami. I'm not a Kawakami guy. I'm not. Like, I get it. I get it. Kawakami ain't for me. Now, Hifumi, this is not my go-to waifu. Not my go-to waifu, but I do like Hifumi. Let's see what they say about Hifumi.
you used to play chess with your cute neighbor, and every now and then, you wonder how she's doing after she moved away all those years ago. Move on, buddy. She doesn't remember you. You wish you
I never played chess with a cute neighbor. Ever. I never played chess with a cute neighbor. I did play chess with other dudes. So...
away all those years ago. Move on, buddy. She doesn't remember you. You wish...
Alright. Futaba is not the best waifu, but Futaba is second best waifu. Futaba is second best waifu. Let's go.
away all those years ago. Move on, buddy. She doesn't remember you. You wish you had a gamer girlfriend in real life, and in all honesty, you just want a female version of yourself to date.
Bro, that's so true. That is so goddamn true.
unironically want to be unemployed and live in your mom's basement your entire life.
Okay, that part is disgusting. That part is fucking disgusting. Side note, do you think that Futaba is Asmongold's waifu?
You laughed when Mishima got denied by Futaba, but you're in denial that you are, in fact, Mishima yourself.
We had a whole, like, 2 minutes left of this video. There will not be a roast that goes that hard again. You are Mishima. So there will not be a single roast that goes that hard.
You never...
Alright. Shio is not a waifu. Not in the slide. Shio is not a waifu.
ever miss a chance to say that she should have been a confidant. You want a rich girlfriend to take...
Haru. Dude, alright. If your waifu is Haru, just acknowledge that you like blank planks of wood. That's what Haru is. Haru is a plank of wood. Worst character in the game. Worst fucking character in the game.
care of you so you don't have to work. You like cute shit, but you're also secretly a sadist, and you're probably on the run for murder. They're probably tracking you using the device you're watching this on right now. You wish you had the good fortune to meet a girl...
Chia, I always forget that she's even a waifu in the game. I won't lie, I always forget that she's a waifu. She's so unmemorable. Even the waifus I don't like, is like are at least more memorable than Chia.
or like Chihaya in your real life. And I'm no fortune teller.
Yeah, Chihaya. I said Chia. Chihaya. I didn't even get her name right. She's so unmemorable.
I can already see that in your future, you won't. Sorry. You definitely like...
Most overrated waifu. I'm gonna say it right now, boys. I'm gonna say it right now. Most overrated waifu in the game. Not saying she's the worst. I'm not saying she's the worst. But she is the most overrated. She's the one that everyone gravitates towards, and I just don't yeah, I get it. She's got some good character development. I get it. She got good character development. But she overrated as fuck, boys.
being stepped all over in a relationship, and are probably into being choked. Kanashiro's Palace is your favorite, and Beep Boop is your favorite line in the entire game.
Bro, if your favorite palace in the game is Kanashiro's, you are not playing the game, but you're playing the game because other people told you it was popular and you want to fit in. Frankly, that goes along with you choosing Makoto as your waifu. You don't even care about the game. You're playing because it's popular.
When the first trailer came out for Royal, you wanted Kasumi to be a femc so badly just so you could date this man. In your head, you hear the...
Alright. Hold on. That's pretty fucking accurate. That's accurate as fuck.
entire game.
Okay, the new Yusuke is a joke.
When the first
Gotcha.
trailer came out for Royal, you wanted Kasumi to be a femc so badly just so you could date this man.
Here it is, boys. My waifu. Takumi is my waifu. I think I'm ready to be roasted. Let's go.
In your head, you hear the same 4 words every day. Big Titty Goth GF.
That's right, son. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. Big titty goth girlfriend. Every day. Every day when I wake up. Every day when I go to sleep. Every day.
Big Titty Goth GF? Big Titty Goth GF? Big titty god. Now for
Don't even. I could. Homie that made this. Homie that made this. He knows what's up. I think that Takumi is his waifu. Takumi clearly his wife. There wasn't even a roasting there. There wasn't even roasting. There was just straight facts, son. Just straight facts. All right, Sai is better than Makoto. I'll be real. Sai is better than Makoto.
Makoto, I said you're probably into being choked, but for Sai, you definitely are. You like getting yelled
Damn!
at, have wrote multiple research papers on why Sai should be romanceable, and would probably commit a crime on purpose just to get to talk to her. You
There are people that will, though. There are people that will. There are people that will.
want her to throw you in jail and do things to you that'll probably get me banned if I say them out loud. Sai probably should throw you in jail, actually.
Oh,
Make that a
shit.
definitely throw you in jail.
Bro, no. They keep throwing a catch. Look, I can understand why Yusuke was thrown on here. I can understand why Yusuke was on here. Why you gotta throw this prissy boy on here? Come on now.
You want a psychotic partner who will threaten to kill you one moment and then make out with you the next. You have daddy issues.
Been there, done that. I had a psychotic ex-girlfriend. Bro, I shit you not, she broke a beer bottle and put it to my throat. I had to call the cops. Like, I wasn't gonna hit a woman. It ain't as good as it's. Like, she was great in bed, but it's not as fun as it sounds. Not as fun as it sounds at all.
And also think Akechi did nothing wrong. You write 5-page responses to anyone who criticizes him. Oya is your waifu, and yet
I feel like Oya is the most slept-on waifu, which she should be the most slept with. I'm gonna be real. Oya's kind of the most slept-on waifu.
you don't even like Oya. You only picked her just so you could see Lala-chan more.
All right. Y'all need to shut the fuck up. That's not cool. That's not cool. All right, here we go. On. I have a confession to make. My first playthrough of the game, I did romance on, but it wasn't intentionally. I didn't realize that I was taking the romance option when I romanced on, and I regretted it. And there's nothing against on. I like on. But I regretted it because I was going so hard for talking to me the first time, and I hit the wrong fucking button, not knowing what I was getting myself into. Mistakes.
You're probably into Instagram models. You're in love with Anna Nystrom, and if you don't know who that is, now you do. And in 10 minutes, you'll thank me for introducing you. If I'm your Persona 5 waifu, then you have good taste. Thanks for watching.
You were
If
not, but that was a funny video. I wanted to start something off with a meme. I wanted to start this stream off with a meme. Alrighty. There you go. Drop a like. Nobody for 1 month says I romance Makoto. God damn it. God damn it. I hope you're late to the stream. I hope you're late to the stream because I think I roasted Makoto fanboys harder than I roasted anybody else in this video. Look, Serranos, even in the English dub, that is how they say her name. Even in the English dub, they say on, not an. I want to hear it. However, Daxnar threw this in the request. Daxnar threw this in the request, and I can already tell you, I hate the way this dude looks. I hate it. I'm not going to take anything he says seriously. Homie don't got a single bit of scruff. He's only got that queer-ass fucking mustache thing. My mustache is way better, mind you. He's got the Hawaiian shirt with a fucking Seinfeld shirt. Okay, look, if you're going to wear a Hawaiian shirt, you either button it up all the way, or you wear a white t-shirt underneath. Plain white. That being said, in the background here, he got this Superman wearing Goku's gi. This is actually part of a larger photo that Enzo has sent me before. It's Superman and Goku hanging out, and it's Goku wearing the Superman outfit and Superman wearing Goku's gi. Dope-ass picture. All right. So Dax sent me this in effort to rile me up. Let's see what happens. Why I hate manga versus comics. I assume he means why he hates the debates.
So, if you ask me,
Is this the dude that went after Wendigoon? Really? No, is it? Troyo Boyo? Is this the dude that went after Wendigoon? If so, that's the only video by him I'd ever seen. Oh, okay, it's not? Alright, it's not. Gotcha. Tom out, you got me wrong, bro. You got me fucked up.
I'm kind of sick of the whole manga versus comics debate. Despite how similar they are as storytelling mediums, for some reason the two are always pitted against each other, with some fans claiming that American comics are quote-unquote dying and citing Japanese manga as the cause. And usually this
Well, okay, two things. American comics are dying. American comics are dying. Manga is part of the reason. Like, manga is part of the reason. It's not the entire reason, but it is part of the reason. Yes.
It's the people attacking fans and creators on the other side. And as a fan and a reader of both, I don't think it's all that serious. Trying to compare them can sometimes be like an apples to oranges situation. And I frankly kind of hate the quote-unquote rivalry between manga and Western comics. I mean, come on. Western comics? Like, Jonah Hex is cool and all, but besides him, there aren't that many comics about cowboys.
Even I wouldn't have made a joke like that. Like even I would not have stooped so low as to make that dumbass joke. That was terrible.
Brother, this guy stinks!
This video is brought to you by Manta Sleep. I'm someone who sleeps a lot while the sun is up, but I'm kind of a light sleeper and I'm really sensitive to any kind of sunlight. But Manta makes the world's best sleep masks and functional sleep accessories, letting me sleep better anywhere
If
and
you
anytime.
can't sleep during the day without a sleep mask,
of
you're a
masks for
beta
whatever kind of
bitch. I'm gonna be
sleep you
real.
might be.
If you
There's the
can't,
original Manta
oh,
Sleep
the
mask, which
sun's
gives
out, I
100%
can't
blackout
sleep.
without any
Nah,
pressure on
dude.
the eyes.
Beta
There's a
male.
cooling mask, a steam mask, a weighted mask
What
for
up, Kalika?
anxiety, a hypoallergenic silk mask, and even a mask with built-in Bluetooth headphones that still let you sleep on your side while listening to things like white noise. I am very much a side sleeper, so I got the Manta Sleep Mask Pro, which provides a true 100% blackout experience for an even deeper sleep. It has C-shaped eye cups to make it more comfortable on my side, puts zero pressure on my eyelids, and is made of advanced materials with ventilation for unmatched breathability. No joke, I really love this thing. I'm perpetually exhausted all the time, but using it with regular naps has boosted my energy so much.
He's perpetually exhausted. I imagine you would be perpetually exhausted after getting roasted by actual fans on the internet all the time.
Much more than any coffee or energy drink ever could, and that's why part of Manta's mission is
load
taking
after
a stand
after
against
beta
hustle
male.
culture with their pro nap movement. The human body is designed to take naps. They give you energy, focus, strength, and clarity that you can't muscle or grind your way through. Check out Manta Sleep using the link in the description.
Not
and make sure
an
to use code
alpha male.
TroyoBoyo for 10% off your order. Special thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video, and thanks to my patrons who are able to get my videos early and ad-free for just $1 a month. Now, I don't really want to spend this whole video talking about business politics and why comics are dying and have that same conversation over and over and over again. I definitely think that
Basically, what he just said was, I don't want to cope about the fact that comics are dying, and I don't want to admit it because I like all the modern slop that DC and Marvel is putting out.
something to talk about there. And there are definitely things that the comics industry can and should do to help stay afloat. I want it to succeed, I want the creators to be able to be paid well, and I want stories with my favorite characters to continue to be told. There's a whole plethora.
I don't. Not after this. Nope. Y'all cut Spider-Man one too many times. Y'all cut Spider-Man one too many times. Burn the whole industry down. Spider-Man deserved better.
Of things that they could do. I really like how James Gunn is handling everything by using the platform of the movies to push and promote.
Dax, you sent me a 13-minute video where in the first 2 minutes he said, I like what James Gunn is doing. Bro, can I get a fuck you Daxnar in the chat from all y'all? From all Rescue Vital Idols. Can I get a fuck you Daxnar in the chat?
The comics, and that's had a huge benefit on the book sales, but there's also massive cultural differences that play a part. Manga is a huge part of Japan's culture, and so many people want American comics to try and
No, Genty Maxie, not hi Dax. Fuck you, Dax. Thank you, love it. Thank you, Seabrew. Y'all understand the assignment.
that popularity. Meanwhile, here in America, we have football and The Bachelor, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Comics are kind of always going to be a niche hobby around here, regardless of how popular the movies might be, and that's fine with me. And I think the idea that the American comic industry is dying because books aren't selling as well as they did in the 90s is very much a doomer mentality, and it's not.
Wait. Did he just say books aren't selling as well as they did in the 90s? Homie. All right, fake fan confirmed. All right, hold on. Fake fan confirmed. Here's the dealio. Because the comics industry is dying because books aren't selling as well as they did in the 90s. Comics in the 90s were dying. Marvel had to sell. They had to sell out the license to all their IPs because they were going bankrupt. Dude, what are you talking about? Now, do I like 90s? Yeah, I love 90s comics. That's when I started reading comics because I'm a 90s kid. But that being said, historically speaking, comics weren't doing well in the 90s. So if they're doing even worse now, and Marvel was on the verge of bankruptcy in the 90s, dude doesn't even know what he's fucking talking about.
something I'm putting much stake in. Especially
Exactly,
when that conversation
Tomahawk.
seems to always lead to some racist stereotypes or flat-out fetishization of Japan, or some grifter comics are bad now because they're woke, unlike
I mean, literally everything he said is true, though. Like, first of all, well, I don't know what he meant by, like, racist about Japan. Fetishist, absolutely. There are some people out there that straight up fetishize Japanese content, and it's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. But yeah, racist stereotypes, I have no idea where he got that shrapnel exactly. No idea. And yes, many Western comics are dying 100% because of going woke. It turned off their main reader source who didn't want that shit in their comics. Dude, yeah, he's coping so hard, Dax.
my completely apolitical pirate book. I'm very smart kinds of takes.
Holy shit. All right, I know this is Dax, you didn't plan this. However, hold on, you didn't plan this, but we literally have a video. One Piece isn't political, and it's like I haven't seen this, mind you, but the fact that he said that, and we'll be going over this one as well later on in the stream, is fucking hilarious.
Me personally, I'm not really interested in all that. I'd rather focus on the stories and the creators. I want to talk about the mediums overall and the art that they produce, their strengths, their weaknesses, and what we can learn from the two in order to get a better picture and a better appreciation for both American comics and manga. By the way, I'm mainly going to be talking about the big two comic companies here, Marvel and DC. Independent comics are equally important, and there are tons of amazing books from other publishers, and a lot of people tend to flat out ignore them when it comes to this conversation, but obviously it's a little bit easier to get into something like Radiant Black or Do a Powerbomb or Invincible than it is the X-Men. So when I say comics in this context, I know that can mean a whole lot of different things, but just to save myself on the sheer word count of this video, I'm going to use that to refer to Marvel and DC books. One of the biggest strengths of manga as a
Now, as much as I've been roasting so far, I do think that's fair. If you're going to be making this manga versus comics comparison, it does make sense just to focus on Marvel and DC. That's to be fair, when people say comics, that's usually what they mean is Marvel and DC. It's pretty ubiquitous to normies, so that is actually a fair way to make this. Even if the video itself sucks, I'll give him credit there.
is purely how accessible it is. For any manga storyline that you want to read, whatever genre or imprint, and no matter how old it is, you always have a clear and easy to understand place to start. If you want to start reading Chainsaw Man, for example, where do you start? With number 1. It's as simple as that. For the majority of manga, even long-running Shonen Jump titles, the books are traditionally written by a single writer, as opposed to multiple writers and creators jumping in and out. This makes character development and story arcs more consistent, and it means that no matter what you read in a series, it'll always be a part of the original creator's vision, and you'll always get a clear through line from beginning to end. And on the topic of accessibility, the pipeline of adapting manga into anime is another way to get the stories more out there. Of course, some anime will take liberties when it comes to the source material for one.
I mean, yeah, adapting manga to anime, sure, but we do the same thing with the movies here, but they just have been sucking as of late. Why did the MCU blow up? The MCU blew up because it was comic accurate enough while still being normie accessible. I mean, you've got a very easy comparison between the two right there.
Reason or another, but for the most part, the adaptations are another way to get the stories to a larger audience and more people reading the books. Most of the time, you can even pick up and start reading where a season of the anime left off. Combine all of that with how you can't go 5 minutes without seeing a manga book on a store shelf of a variety of different genres, from shonen to romance to horror to slice of life, you name it. And manga is literally as easy as humanly possible to get into. And that's made a huge impact on the sales and the number of people who can experience those stories. And that accessibility is often used as a criticism of the comics industry, at least with the big two. We're reading something like
as it should be. Look, if we want to take the politics and whatnot out of the comic book industry aside, they're not very accessible. They're not, dude. Like, when Cannoli Sasquatch, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever, started reading comics and trying to get into comics, he was hitting up me and Gooch and all of us aficionados that were, asking us where to begin. And we gave him easy, simple, contained runs, which is a good way to start reading comics. But the fact that he didn't know that those were a thing or that they existed, that goes to show that that comics do lack an accessibility factor. The fact that he uses shonen so generically reveals the fact that he does not really understand. There's that too. Yeah, absolutely.
Naruto is as easy as starting with number 1, with how much comics like to reboot and rebrand and retcon everything, all the spin-offs and crossovers and crises. It's not as simple trying to start something like Batman, and oftentimes even getting started with reading comics can be one of the biggest hurdles.
No, hold on, now. We run it back for a sec.
Something like Batman, and oftentimes even getting started with
reading
comics.
Here. Only reason I bring this up, I'm gonna minimize this real quick so you can see. This is the best Batman fit, and I will take no arguments. Batman with the blue and gray is the best Batman fit, and I will take no arguments.
can be one of the biggest hurdles. I very much understand that it can be a little bit tough to get started, especially if you don't know anyone who's willing to help you out. But I honestly think a lot of people tend to overthink comics. Because while getting into something like Batman isn't nearly as simple as start from the beginning, I think that comic publishers have actually done a lot in attempts to make things simpler and more accessible. Because as much as it might sound insane with surely how many books there are, you can honestly start reading wherever you want. Now, you absolutely could start from the beginning of a character's run and try and read every single issue as far back as the 1930s. Don't do that, that's insane. It can work for some characters like Spider-Man, but still, there are very few people on the planet who have actually read every single issue of a mainline title from beginning to end like that. Me personally, my first comics that I ever bought were the New 52 Aquaman and...
Homie got into comics with the New 52? Bro. No. Alright. This is gonna come off as pretty elitist, and I want to let y'all know I don't fucking care. If you got your start with comics with New 52, you are allowed to talk about comics. Like,
All-Star Batman and Robin. Let's just say that one of those books is really good, but I really started reading consistently when DC launched their Rebirth line, which was specifically geared to new readers. The rule with
so he didn't start reading consistently till after the failure of New 52. Who is this loser?
getting into comics, either as a new reader or trying to get into new characters, it's to try and jump in at either a book label #1 or where a writer for the book changes. There are a lot of #1s out there, which is part of the confusion, and that's because of a couple different reasons. Firstly, #1s just sell more.
Hulk vs. Wolverine is a dope run. I think it's like a 4-issue miniseries. Dope little miniseries, Shrapnel.
So it's a cheap and easy way to get some more sales out of something. But more importantly, when a book gets rebranded to #1, that's usually the company's way of trying to tell new readers that this is a good place to get started. If you're confused about what happened before...
No, it's not. That's not what they're doing. When a comic company rebrands a book as #1, it is because the book prior, the stories, the books, the run, whatnot, wasn't selling, and they need to restart it. And #1s always sell out because people think that, oh, if I get an issue 1, it'll be a collectible someday. Because we've seen so many old comics from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatnot, that were #1s when these characters started, and they went on to be worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. Like, no. Comic companies reboot with issue 1s as a money grub tactic. That's it.
The potential canon and lore. There are a lot of different resources, both official and unofficial, to help catch you up to speed. Some of them might even be built straight into the comics. And Google is your friend. Okay, actually, wait, never mind. What's that other search engine? Ecosia is your friend. They're cool, I think. Basically, it's perfect.
The only search engine that is even close to being a friend, and it's still even like, I don't know, is DuckDuckGo.
Perfectly okay to be reading a book, see something or see a character that you don't know, and look them up on a Wikipedia page or ask somebody. Nobody has read every single comic ever, especially when it comes to these long-form books, and it's okay to admit that you don't know something and to ask for help. If you ask me, and I don't mean any disrespect to anyone by saying this, I actually think that a lot of the comics are too hard to get into discourse is from people who haven't actually taken the chance to actually sit down and try. I swear to God, I'm not gay.
No. It's the exact opposite. The comics are too difficult to get into discourse has come from longtime comic fans who've watched these universes get convoluted and bastardized and changed and altered to the point, because like, if you're a comic book fan, odds are you fucking love comic books. That's what makes you a fucking fan. And what do you do when you love something? You try and get other people into it. You try and share that love. Nerds love sharing shit. Nerds love getting other people into their own nerdy hobbies. And that has become exponentially more difficult. Well, again, political shit aside, it's become exponentially more difficult with how convoluted, over the top, and frankly insignificant so many modern stories and writing and characters and whatnot have become due to how the multiple universes are handled. And then you've got all the political and woke shit aside, but that's, again, even if that wasn't the case, this would still be an arduous task to get normies into comics because of how often things change and because of how much the canon is altered. Really, one of the biggest problems with comic books is the big companies have too much control over the IP, being able to toss writers and our society. No. It's the opposite. It's the opposite, Serranos. They let these artists and writers and whatnot do all willy-nilly shit with the IP. You could have one writer come in, have Batman marry Catwoman, It run for about 14, 15, 16 issues, whatever. New story arc starts, new writers take over, and there's no rule for consistency, and that writing's be like, I don't like Catwoman and Batman being married. We're going to go ahead and write that out. We're going to either alter the universe where it never happened, it was all a dream, or they're going to get a divorce, or Catwoman's going to die. Why? Because I didn't like that they were married. So I can't work in the sandbox that my previous writers set up. It is the lack of, it's the lack of control. That's why Sega did shit right by look, you can criticize Sega for a lot of shit. And frankly, there's a lot of shit Sega did and mandated with the Sonic comics that I don't like. But them putting that stringent control on the Sonic IP for the Western comics does give a sense of consistency. And yeah, fuck Bendis, dude. Fuck Bendis.
Genuinely, it's a misconception. It might take a little bit of extra research. Maybe you'll have to ask around online or someone at the store. But every hobby is going to have a little bit of a barrier to entry. And once you get over that initial hurdle and actually start reading comics, I promise you it becomes incredibly easy. But if that's still not enough for you, or if you're still really struggling to just get started reading without any baggage or complications, there's always going to be Elseworld stories set outside of or adjacent to the main canon of the universe that anybody can just pick up and read. And those books...
Honestly, this is one of the few things he is correct about. Again, I'm nothing if not a fair individual. He is correct here. Elseworld stories, usually little limited run stories and whatnot, are great entry points for people because they're usually like 4, 5, 6 issues long. It's just one single contained story. However, if you get started with comics and you're reading that shit, y'all better know that's not canon. That's not the main character. That's not the main iteration of the character. Whatever you learn, whatever's discussed, or whatever archetypes and growth and development happens is just there for that story, and it should not be taken into account when talking about a character's merits and when you compare them.
Also tend to get forgotten about in this debate. In all honesty, I found a lot more enjoyment in those kinds of Elseworld stories purely because they're more detached from editorial interference and trying so hard to stick to their own canon, and they end up usually having a clear ending. And the biggest and most popular example is Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man is, for all intents and purposes, the manga version of Spider-Man, which is ironic because we already have
What? No! First of all, Ultimate Spider-Man is not a contained run. Ultimate Spider-Man is part of the Ultimate Universe, and you had Ultimate Avengers, Ultimate Thor, Ultimate Nick Fury. Like, what are you fucking talking about? By the way, big ups. Marvel Mangaverse is awesome. Read Marvel Mangaverse. It's fucking sick.
couple manga Spider-Man. The book was literally created as a jumping off point for new readers, a reinterpretation.
Yo, Dax over a 5-banger. Speaking of manga versus comics, or is a Hawkeye versus Natasha? Dude, Hawkeye all day. Hawkeye all day. Natasha Romanoff, even before she was played by Scarlett Johansson, who I think is incredibly overrated, Natasha Romanoff never did it for me, dude. Hawkeye all day. And anyone that disagrees...
That's stupid. You're stupid. Stop being stupid.
Hey, no worries, Dark Excess. I'm just happy to have you here.
Of classic stories for a modern audience, all under the direction of one singular writer. It was even a big inspiration for Kohei.
By the way, and for those of you who say, I'm not knocking Ultimate Spider-Man. I really liked Ultimate Spider-Man. I read Ultimate Spider-Man consistently growing up. So, I'm not knocking it. Just saying, calling Ultimate Spider-Man effectively the manga version of Spider-Man was a retarded comparison.
Horikoshi from My Hero Academia. You can start reading Ultimate Spider-Man from issue number 1 all the way to 160, and you will get the entire story aside from like a couple crossovers that really don't matter in the end. And Marvel just announced that they're actually going to be bringing back Ultimate Spider-Man, being helmed by two of my favorite creators right now, Jonathan Hickman and Marco Cacchetto. I'm not in...
And this... I stopped reading this version of Ultimate Spider-Man, not for any sort of like wokeness, political reasons or whatnot. I just fell off. I had other things I was doing. But yeah, I read the first, somewhere between 8 and 12 issues, something like that. And I liked it. I did. I unapologetically. I like the rebranded Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't know if it goes downhill. I don't know if it gets bad. But from what I read, I liked the rebranded Ultimate Spider-Man.
Entirely sure what direction the book is going to take.
Maybe he meant it's lives for so long with the same creators when he compared them. If that's what he meant, fair enough. AJ, if that's what he meant, fair enough. I don't think that was adequately explained, but all right, fair. I'll give benefit of the doubt. I'm a fair man.
How long it's going to last or any of the details, but I would love it if that same mindset is applied to this one. A long-form, easily accessible story from one creative team that spans over the course of years. I'd actually like it if they took it a step further, if Ultimate Spider-Man became a title that got refreshed every 5 to 10 years with a new powerhouse team being able to tell their story from beginning to end.
No, because that's the problem with comics. That's why manga is superior 9 times out of 10. Because you don't do this whole refresh with new writers thing. Now, sometimes you do. Again, sometimes the writer dies and shit like that. But guess what? When mangaka, what they do, they often have one dude as their underling, their apprentice, their underling, whatever. That way, when they die, they have one person who has been studying relentlessly under that creator that knows the original creator's vision. And all they're doing is, in the event of his death, continuing the story that, as best they can, that he was trying to tell. We saw this with Dragon Ball. We saw this with Berserk.
I mean, that's basically what the book was back when it started and before it became burdened with the rest of the Ultimate Universe. I go on that whole tangent not just to make the video longer or keep the Spider-Man fans interested.
So, back in the day, jingle, jingle, jingle.
But also because while I know that a lot of people see the, like, how complicated it is to get started and, like, being able to start from anywhere makes it a little bit difficult as, like, a problem with the comics industry, I actually see it as one of the biggest strengths. The ability to choose what you want to read, regardless.
How is that a strength? Look, however, I don't give a fuck how you want to spin it. Everything he's basically saying, is a strength is, look at all this non-canon shit you can easily get into. Okay, guess what? It's fucking non-canon. Bro, imagine trying to make this argument for anime. Look, man, I know there's a lot of episodes, but the filler is so good. You watch all this non-canon filler. Isn't that awesome? Shut the fuck up.
Of what came before or what you know about the characters is one of the best parts about being a comic reader. You don't have to keep up with every little event or crossover or storyline. If you see a book that looks interesting,
he is correct in that you didn't used to be able to do that, but now, because comics are dying, because sales are in the shitter, every goddamn month they're doing some new big bombastic event that has all these tie-in comics. You need to read all that. Like, event storylines used to be just that, an event. Now event storylines are the fucking norm, and they are predicated on everything that came before, a bunch of tie-in comics. Like, no, you can't just pick up and start reading going whenever, but you do need to read all this other stuff that's adjacent, or you don't get the full story.
You or is from a creative team that you know you like, chances are you can just pick it up and read it. It's a very freeing mentality. That
He says a creative team you know you like. How do you know you like creative team if you're having trouble getting into comics? Like, that's the point. If you're having trouble getting into comics from the first place, how do you know you like a certain creative team?
Mostly exclusive to the medium of comic books. And then there's one piece of
Jesus Christ. Hold on, this whole video is pretty much, he calls it, I hate manga versus comics, but this whole video has just been him coping about about comics themselves and people who don't like reading comics because of what's happened to them. He's not actually given any sort of ups or very few actual arguments or points towards the manga versus comics debate on the manga side. Which, by the way, probably goes to show you why manga is better. He doesn't need to do that. He needs to spend this whole video coping and seething about comics. Doesn't need to do that about manga because manga's already good as is.
So I've been getting into One Piece for the first time, and just like any other One Piece fan, I have to tell everyone I know that I'm really into One Piece. And I'm gonna give a crazy hot take here. One Piece is really long. It's a book that's been going on for over 25 years. There are over 1,000 chapters to it, and it's not even finished. It's like comically long. And now that I say that out loud, there's a double meaning there. It's so long that it's funny, but also it's about as long as some Western comics. And while I think the length is
yes, it is as long as Western comics. However, the storytelling methods used in, let's say, One Piece or any super long-running manga are vehemently different and far more normie accessible. Far more normie accessible.
Part of the experience of One Piece, and it's part of why the adventure is so special. There's definitely still a barrier to entry solely because of how long it is. Sure.
All right. Is One Piece have a high barrier to entry due to its length? Anime-wise, yes. Yes, it does. As far as the manga, not really. I would disagree. I don't think the length of One Piece is a barrier to entry in terms of the manga because of how fucking fast you can blitz through reading manga. Like, it's insane. You can blitz through manga. So the barrier to entry is nothing. What would take you a year watching consistently, if not longer, to catch up to One Piece, you could do in if not weeks, 3 months tops with the manga. And be further ahead than the anime actually is.
You can just start at number 1, but it's so demoralizing to try and get into it right now and see just how much further ahead you have to go before you can really talk to anyone about it.
How is that demoralizing? Bro, no, fuck that. Dude, when Cookies got into One Piece, I told the story a million times, I'm going to continue to do it. When Cookies got into One Piece, he got into it because of the live action show. And that made him buckle down and start watching the start watching the anime. And I wasn't caught up on the anime, but I was way further ahead. I was like 800, 900 episodes into the anime. So I was about 200 or so episodes behind. And we restarted from episode 1. So that means not only did I need to catch up to the 200 I wasn't up on yet, but I had to watch the 800 or 900 again to catch back up. And guess what? It wasn't demoralizing at all. Me and Cookies had a fucking blast doing it. It was the opposite demoralizing. Dude, I got to hear him talk about theories and what he thought was going to happen. I could give him little hints and whatnot to get him on the edge of his seat, but not say what was going down. He was like, oh shit, what's going on? Like, it was fucking awesome. So no, dude, this is a straight up bullshit argument. Zach's coming in with a 5-banger, says, get out the way, boys. Ladies are on their way to save comics. Well, yeah, they are. But by ladies, I think we know about ladies.
Now excuse me while I harass someone for having pronouns in their bio.
It's them lady 2.0 versions that are writing all these comics.
By the way, I just started Arabasta. Luffy is my new favorite character in all of fiction, and if you spoil any of this for me...
He could have said Alabasta or Arabasta, but he said Arabasta. Like, there's 2 different ways to pronounce it depending on if you're going with the Japanese or the English, and he fucked both up.
You will make me cry. But unlike something like Batman, where you're able to read just whatever you want, whenever you want, with One Piece, you don't really have a choice but to put in that time and that effort, and that's something that not everybody might have, which kind of goes...
But no, fuck you. That's the way it should be done. If you're not willing to put in the time or the effort, you don't need to be a part of this shit. That's why we gatekeep. If you're not willing to put in the time or the effort, sorry, you don't need to be part of the quote-unquote fandom or anything like that. Because you're just fucking casually... Now, if you want to casually enjoy something, yeah, go for it. But don't fucking come up to me and try and have these deep conversations or talk to me like you're an expert or like you know nothing. No. No, we want people in these, whether it be manga, comics, video games, anime, sports. You want people that know what the fuck they're talking about, so you can have conversations with people who know what the fuck they're talking about.
Against the idea that manga is more accessible. And when it comes to multiple writers on a comic over the years, as opposed to manga's singular writer, I actually think that multiple writers is another strength for comics. Yes, it can definitely lead to some inconsistencies and issues concerning character arcs and retcons, but the flip side of it is that it allows for so many unique and individual voices to be able to try their hand at a character for a while, before passing that off to a new perspective. Mind you,
those arguments, those conversations, those debates are far better when people disagree, if they know the source. Like me and Dax, fundamentally disagree on Dragon Ball Super. Absolutely. Dude, me and Dax have gotten into shouting matches on stream. Y'all have heard about Dragon Ball Super. But you want to know why we're able to do that? Because we are both die-hard fans. We are die-hard Dragon Ball fans. So when we do debate this shit, it is 2 experts who have different opinions coming at it, rather than somebody trying to portray themselves as an expert when really they don't know shit. I think Dax's takes on Super, usually, he's got a few good ones, but usually are fucking retarded. But I know he knows his shit, so I take the argument seriously. Gentlemen and female gentlemen. I do love me some Nux.
Example is always Green Arrow, because
welcome back, Pouty.
Look at me, you know. When he was first introduced, he was literally a carbon copy of Batman. He had a teenage sidekick, an Arrow Cave, an Arrow Car, an Arrow Plane, beat for beat, just Batman with a bow, which I guess the CW decided to take and just run with. And it wasn't until Denny O'Neil's time on the character, along with Neil Adams, did Green Arrow change and develop into his own unique hero, and is the reason why so many people like me love him so much. Those classic books are a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but if there was just one person running for Green Arrow the entire time, then the character would have likely just faded into obscurity. Because the way I see it, and this always sounds like such an annoying take, and I'm sorry, but these characters in these stories are very much modern.
I don't have a whole lot of, like, quote-unquote dream countercast guests or podcast guests in general or whatnot. Nux is one of them. I would love to get Nux on the show. That would be a fucking treat.
Mythology. And I don't just mean that in the sense that in 5 to 10 years after civilization collapses, aliens will probably find our artifacts and our fossils and think we worshipped Chris Evans' abs. But nobody reads Hercules or Zeus or any Greek mythology stories from A to B. There's no real beginning or end to those, just important moments in their histories that have value and meaning as stories. The same applies to comic characters like Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. Basically what I'm saying is, for everything that people think is wrong with the comics industry compared to manga and the way that the stories are told, I think they're all part of the experience and are actually a strength of the medium. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Because
It's not a bug, it's a feature is a meme, and he used it here unironically. That might be the worst possible way he could have used that. It turns out everyone fucking hates that feature. Exactly, Serranos.
can debate manga versus comics as much as we want, but at the end of the day, they're both just fucking comics. They're both based on sequential images to tell a story. They're both released in
Now, to be fair, that is an objectively true statement. I don't like how he's going to try and rationalize it, but that's an objectively true statement. Manga are comics. They are. Manga are, in fact, comics. But yes, exactly, Dax. He's using it as to be reductive, 100%.
Chapters and then collected in trades. They both have serious systemic issues when it comes to deadlines and crunch in the treatment of their workers, as well as hypersexualization of female characters. They both—
Oh, go fuck yourself. Go. No.
Shut up, bitch!
Manga comics both hypersexually female. Shut the fuck up, you flaming fucking queer.
have entitled fans who harass and attack creators for not meeting their excruciating demands. Literally, the only thing that's actually different about the two is the direction that you read the panels. Sure, manga might be doing better in sales numbers, and I think comics can and should look into trying to replicate some of that success when it comes to printing and distribution and accessibility.
So you made this whole ass 12-minute coping video to in the last minute be like, yeah, manga is in fact selling better. No shit!
These companies need to be better about reprinting trades, especially the popular ones. They need to be better about distributing books to places that may not have local comic book stores. They need to start making it more clear which books are good for newer readers or where to start if they're not. But purely on a fundamental level, they're the same storytelling medium. They're not at odds with each other.
They're not this. Well, okay, they're the same storytelling medium. Yes, but just because something's the same medium doesn't mean that they are equals. All right, that's like comparing fucking Jaws 2 to Lord of the Rings, to Fellowship of the Ring, to Return of the King, and being like, well, they're the same medium. They're both movies. Yeah, no shit, they're both movies. But the quality difference, quite fucking stark, my friend.
They don't compete. The same way that music from Latin American countries is still music and movies from Korea are still movies, and they're not a different category altogether. Comics are comics. Even comics from Japan are still comics. And that's why I can't stand this discourse and this rivalry.
Then, all right, hold on. Then why are you saying it's apples to oranges? At the beginning of the video, you said it was apples to oranges. Well, if comics are comics, then it's not apples to oranges. It's apples to apples. Well, this dude defeated his own fucking logic. I just used the word logic very liberally there.
Because you can compare apples to oranges all day. But really, when you break it down, they're still both fruits.
Bro, you are a fucking fruit. You are a fucking fruit.
But let me know down below what you think of the whole manga comics debate. And if you like this video, be sure to
No,
let the
I'm doing the opposite. I am going to dislike this. Oh, there we go. Bro, this dude was on some dumbass shit, bro. He wasn't even smoking that good. He was like, dude, this was bad. This was painful. This fucking hurt. Dax has put some dumbass shit in the videos before to troll me. But this might be his worst ever goddamn offense. This might be Dax's worst offense. He apologized. Your apology is accepted. But still go fuck yourself. I don't even know who he was. And I'm not gonna link the video. I'm not gonna link the video. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Y'all don't need that poisoning your algorithm. Fuck! I'm gonna be getting recommended shit. Good thing I'm watching this on my Words of Paradise account, not my personal account. I don't ever really use my Words of Paradise account for stuff that, for actually sitting down and watching YouTube. So that's fine. This is fine. We got another comic book adjacent video. This one is one that I wanted to watch. It's one that I wanted to watch. You missed the point by idolizing them. Now, this isn't just about comics. This like, based on the title, this seems like it's a video taking shots at the creators that throw bitch fits when we are fans of characters that they want to be the bad guy. Oh, Saran says he planned on watching this video. Awesome. Well, you get to watch it here with me. So yeah, I don't know the quality of this video. I don't know this this individual. Small sub count, so we're definitely gonna, well, I'm not gonna give it a like or dislike till we actually see the quality of it. But this is one I might be happy to share with you guys. Let's find out.
Spoilers. How often have you heard the phrase, "You missed the point by idolizing them"? I ask.
Hold on, let's see who you missed the point by idolizing them starter pack was.
You heard the phrase, "You missed the point by idolizing them."
Alright, so we got homie from Taxi Driver, we got Tyler Durden, we got fucking Rick, we got what's this guy's name? Leo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street. We got Heisenberg, Joker, Tony Montana, homie from Clockwork Orange. I can't tell who this one is. Rorschach, Patrick Bateman. Wait, you missed it. We got V, homie from, oh my god, why am I blanking on the name of this movie? Why am I blanking on the name of this movie? It's such a good goddamn movie. I'm the bad guy? Fuck! I'm gonna get shit on for not remembering the name of this movie. Oh, it's killing me. BoJack Horseman, Punisher. What do you mean? Wait, you missed the point. No. Nick Pizzolatto has never said we missed the point of Russ by idolizing him. That is retarded. Falling Down. That's the name of the movie. Falling Down. Thank you. Falling Down. No. I was talking about down here, Zach's. Gravestone. I remembered it before I saw your comment. I don't. Oh, I think it's 500 Days of Summer. It's got Joker again, Cartman, and American History X. All right. I named all of them, but oh wait, no, I don't know these two. I don't know these two. Whatever. Point is, I just want to make sure I just want my nerdy cred. We're good.
I ask because I really hate people who say this. First off, who are you to tell me that I'm enjoying something the wrong way? People who had nothing to do with a given work's creation will assert this authority.
You can enjoy shit the wrong way. For example, if you enjoy sex with a woman, that's based. If you're a man and you enjoy sex with a man, you are enjoying sex the wrong way.
Over you, smugly pushing up their glasses while linking quotes from the director / author / what have you. It's one thing to argue over different interpretations, but people who rag on about media literacy act as if their interpretation is the only correct one. Even worse, they don't apply this standard consistently. It doesn't matter that J.R.R. Tolkien was a devout Catholic all his life. Frodo and Sam were gay for each other, you homophobe. These people clearly understand that authorial intent is not the only way to interpret a work of fiction. They just want to power trip. Second off, saying that you missed the point by idolizing them is itself missing the point in almost all cases. The characters that this phrase is applied.
It also is assuming that you idolize them rather than just enjoy the character. Like, I enjoy the character of Frieza. I don't idolize Frieza, although to be fair, if I did have the power to like just cleanse entire planets, maybe I would.
To are cool, confident, attractive, successful, and sometimes genuinely heroic. 99% of the time, you are meant to sympathize with them and even admire them to a certain degree. You're just not supposed to emulate them. But that's the thing. If no one...
He got it. He nailed it. I don't even know why there's fucking more time left in this video. He nailed it with that sentence.
Wanted to emulate them, then their stories would be completely pointless. Who would ever be evil if doing bad things made you broke, ugly, and miserable from the beginning? It's an unfortunate fact of reality that being amoral is often rewarded, and so we need stories to remind us of the true drawbacks of being a bad person. Media literacy, as used by these types of people, is an Orwellian term that means the opposite of what it says it does. These people don't actually examine the text of the work, they examine what other people said about the work. They go along with...
So, media literacy is a fun term because I want media literacy to mean the correct thing. That's why when Vex, I love Vex. This is not a dog on Vex. This is just an example because she said it recently. This is why when Vex talks about media literacy, she is using it correctly, and I know what she means. Like, Vexy does use the term the way it's supposed to be used, but it's still cringe every time I hear her say it because it, as a term, has been ruined.
The herd of the intellectual elite who grasp the true meaning of movies like Watchmen or Starship Troopers that the peons couldn't possibly comprehend. But when you actually go in and examine the characters and stories the media literacy crowd is so quick to condemn, you quickly see that they're the ones with the surface level interpretation. So let's go deeper.
Time.
Let's break down what makes idol characters so compelling by breaking them down into different categories. This video will cover the first, while part 2 will cover the second. Now let's get started.
Oh, it's gonna be a part 2? Let's see. This came out 2 weeks ago. If this is a good video, we'll need to keep our eye out for a part 2.
Characters who are just straight up correct. Sometimes, despite being treated like a villain by the narrative, a character has genuinely good arguments that no one can rebut, or their actions come across as noble, or at least not nearly as bad as others around them. Sometimes, the world a character inhabits requires things of them that would definitely be immoral in our world, but in their world are necessary for survival. These are the characters fans will say did nothing wrong. When it comes to having good arguments, the character I would say most exemplifies this is...
Oh, I was gonna say Rorschach. I'll be real, I thought he was gonna go with Rorschach.
Tyler Durden from Fight Club. Tyler rejects the materialism and celebrity worship of the modern world for one important reason. One day, you're going to die. From his introduction, Tyler is uninterested in pretending to be interested. He cares about actually living instead of merely consuming. He has the narrator punch him first because he realizes that there's value in losing, in experiencing pain. Like the Unabomber, he's...
See, I won't lie. I can't get behind this. I do like Fight Club. I like the book way more than the movie, but I do like Fight Club, so I'm not knocking Fight Club. But I can't get behind a... Now, I'm not saying this is a character that shouldn't be on this list, but I don't think he should be on the characters correct list because that level of nihilism I do not think is correct. Yeah, Tyler's not real as far as the story. That's true as well. Tyler's not real. But in no story, or at least in the story that we're shown and real life, I can't agree that nihilism is ever correct.
Sees that modern life takes away your power by shielding you from all the consequences of your actions. Unless you're astoundingly unlucky, no one watching this video has ever
exactly. Gravestone is entirely correct. Tyler's a nihilistic hero. He's not always the right hero. Correct. Yeah, I don't think he's they're always right hero.
Starved or has ever been in danger of starving. Fighting is the only way to do something that's truly meaningful. Something where you're truly in control, acting on your own behalf, and for your own benefit. Everything else is an illusion. The things you own end up owning you. Anti-materialism is not a very original message, but the way Tyler presents it is. Owning a thing makes it an obligation. You are responsible for the maintenance and repairs of the thing. You are responsible for taking it with you when you move and for discarding it when you no longer wish to possess it. Owning enough things will, in a very literal sense, restrict your freedom. But there's a spiritual element to it as well. Your things weren't really purchased with money, they were purchased with your time. The one thing you can never get back. Is it really worth it to trade an irreplaceable resource for a replaceable object? On some level, we must all make this trade in order to survive, but living is more than surviving. For this reason, Tyler's crusade is about giving men their time and freedom back. Except, he's not really giving it to them, he's demanding that they take it back. The power process...
And in that respect, yeah. So, the idea of what Tyler is doing here, I would agree with. But again, the conclusion is what I disagree with. The conclusion of nihilism is what is fundamentally flawed. That's why he is wrong. You can have a great idea, but come to the wrong conclusion.
is useless if you're not a willing participant. That's why he makes the first and second rules of Fight Club a vow of secrecy. The club is only open to those who can be trusted, to those who truly want it. He also goes and reminds people in a very visceral way that their lives could end at any time, so if they're not living their lives the way they wanted when Tyler checks up on them, he'll just straight up murder them. Despite this, Tyler never actually kills anyone. He inadvertently gets Bob killed and messes up Angel's face, but neither were directly his fault. Bob got shot on a mission, and Angel was beaten up by a split personality. Even after he becomes a full-on terrorist, he makes sure the buildings he's rigged to blow are cleared of any people who aren't part of Project Mayhem. And while people have argued that it's still probably going to kill people down in the streets below, I don't think it's a stretch to believe that his guys have probably cleared the streets too. In the time since the movies come out, has materialism gotten better, worse, or stayed the same? I think if you asked random...
I don't really care for the materialism argument. I think the materialism argument is such a lazy, easy go-to argument for, pining for an impossible world. Like, there will always be some level of materialism. And there always has been. Throughout all of human history, there's been a level of materialism. Like, has it gotten better or worse, or has it just gotten different? I don't know. I don't find that to be a particularly compelling argument, though.
People on the street, most of them would respond with one of the latter two. Tyler's message resonates despite his evil actions. He's never hypocritical, he generally improves the lives of the people around him, and in the end, he essentially wins. All but one of the banks blow up, and given that the narrator is now successfully ordering the members of Project Mayhem around, it seems that he's become synthesized into the narrator's personality, striking a healthy balance between his freedom and the narrator's neuroticism. This is the point the media literacy dorks are
Correct,
missing.
Jeremiah.
On the spectrum between the narrator and Tyler, most men are closer to the narrator. They need a bit of Tyler to be more masculine, less inhibited, and less stressed about material things. People who idolize Tyler Durden are seeking self-improvement, and responding to this by pointing to Tyler's terrorism and cult leader status is like...
Well, and that's... he says people who idolize Tyler Durden are seeking seeking self-improvement. I think he is using idolization wrong here. Now, I could be wrong, but when you idolize someone, that means you see no flaws in them. You are deifying them. People don't idolize Tyler Durden. They respect and admire aspects of Tyler Durden. I won't lie. I've never met somebody in real life who has idolized Tyler Durden. Or probably really any of these characters, depending on which ones he brings up. So yeah, again, maybe this is a nitpick, but I think he used idolized incorrect there. Again, I think respect it would have been a better use, or admire would be better. Because there's a difference between admiring someone and idolizing someone.
Telling an obese person trying to lose weight that they're going to end up as an anorexic. Let's move on to our next example, and probably one of the most contentious.
Here we go. I do think, and it's been a while since I've watched or read Watchmen, to be fair. It's been a while since I've read or watched Watchmen. But from my memory, yes, Rorschach truly is a he did nothing wrong character. 100% did nothing wrong character.
Rorschach from Watchmen. Rorschach falls under the umbrella of characters who, despite their flaws, come across as noble and heroic. And despite what you may think, Alan Moore 100% intended this. Alan Moore is a good writer and a good storyteller. The idea that
He's just a fucking idiot as well. Which is Alan Moore is an idiot savant. His works, man, they are brilliant works. He is fucking retarded, though.
didn't know that Rorschach would appeal to people is ludicrous, but everyone keeps bringing up that same quote where Moore supposedly tells Rorschach fans to keep away from him. I meant him to be a bad example, but I have people come up to me in the street saying, I am Rorschach, that is my story. And I'll be thinking, yeah, great, can you just keep away from me and never come anywhere near me again for as long as I live? There are two main problems here. First off, this quote keeps on getting misinterpreted and taken out of context. Moore supposedly said this in 2008, over 20 years after Watchmen came out, when Moore was becoming increasingly disillusioned with DC. Watchmen was and is one of the most popular comics in history, with thousands of people talking to him and asking him about it. The man was probably just tired. And more importantly, that's not the full quote. The full quote says this. So I thought, alright, if there was a Batman in the real world, he probably would be a bit mental. He wouldn't have time for a girlfriend, friends, a social life, because he'd just be driven by getting revenge against criminals dressed up as a bat for some reason. He probably wouldn't be very careful about his personal hygiene. He'd probably smell. His voice probably would have become weird with misuse. His phraseology would be strange. I wanted to kind of make this like, yeah, this is what Batman would be in the real world. In this whole quote,
I'll be real. I've never once heard that full quote. I've never once heard that full quote. That's interesting.
he doesn't say that Rorschach isn't a hero, he just says that he's a mental basket case, which is true, and he doesn't much want to associate with people who identify as a mental basket case, which is reasonable. People act as if this quote is a full-on condemnation of Rorschach and everything he represents, when in actuality, Moore greatly respected the work of Steve Ditko. Ditko created Mr. A, Rorschach's primary inspiration, and said that he liked Rorschach's portrayal in Watchmen. Moore likewise praised Ditko, saying, "Steve Ditko is completely at the other end of the political spectrum from me, but I have a great deal of respect for the man, and certainly respect for his artwork, and the fact that..."
Damn! I cannot believe I'm about to give ups, like give big ups to something that Alan Moore said. Holy shit.
There's something about his uncompromising attitude that I have a great deal of sympathy with. Even if they have morals you don't agree with, a person with a strong moral code is a person who has a big advantage in today's world. Does this sound like...
And mind you, this is why, I don't know about you guys, this is why I fucking hate the vast majority of people who are on, let's say, just the opposite side of the political spectrum or whatnot. Like, you know, let's say, Hamas, Diddy, Epstein, Osama bin Laden, Piker. He has no moral framework. He will sell out his beliefs or be inconsistent or hypocritical about his beliefs simply to save face. That is not being altruistic. That is the exact opposite. Now, I think that fucking Alan Moore is a moron. I do. I think Alan Moore is a moron. But I do kind of appreciate that sentiment that was given. Like, there's a reason that... Shoe on Head is a brilliant example. I heavily disagree with Kami Mami. I do. I heavily disagree with Kami Mami on so much of her political stances. But she is an objective... she is frequently consistent, morally, philosophically. She tries to be objective. So you could take someone who... She probably has more in common politically with Hamas, Epstein, Osama bin Laden, Diddy, Piker than myself. But I respect the fuck out of her far more.
Like someone who hates Rorschach? There's another, even more important thing about using this quote to show that Alan Moore hated Rorschach. It might not even exist. While doing research for this video, I tracked down the primary source this quote supposedly originates from. A series of YouTube videos by one of Moore's fellow artists, LeJourne Pindling. All of these videos have been taken down, and apparently no one actually has a transcript of the full interview. So the fact that this is the one quote someone managed to save is highly suspect. We can never go back and verify unless I could speak to Alan Moore directly, which, probably isn't happening. And now we have hundreds of incestuously self-referential articles talking about a quote that may or may not even exist. Both lovers and haters of Alan Moore are arguing over an illusion. What's not an illusion is the actual text itself. By reading Watchmen, you can easily see that Rorschach is not meant to be a bad faith parody of Batman or Mr. A. He's simply meant to be more realistic. Hundreds of works since Watchmen try to imitate it by doing this gritty deconstruction of superheroes without ever realizing what made Watchmen work. Rorschach...
This is a real good video so far. Like, I consider myself a comic aficionado. I know a lot of shit. I can talk a lot of shit, but like, all of this information about Rorschach is new. And again, I am one of those Rorschach did nothing wrong sort of believers. So like, this is a really good video. Mad props. Yeah, this is definitely one I'm gonna like and link.
backstory is meant to be like that of Batman's, a childhood marked by tragedy and trauma, resulting in a man resolved to do what's necessary to prevent evil. Except, instead of a mega-rich scion, it's an average kid from New York experiencing tragedies that are far more common than murder: alcoholism, abuse, and bullying. Likewise, his response to these tragedies is more realistic as well. He doesn't have the resources to fly out to Tibet to train with monks. He simply tracks down murderers and rapists and straight up kills them. While Rorschach has bad
Which is based as fuck. That's why Rorschach did nothing wrong, by the way, guys. He tracks down murderers and rapists. Sorry, not racists. Murderers and rapists and fucking kills them. Awesome. That's a good character. If your character, his sole purpose is to track down and kill murderers and rapists, it's probably a pretty good character.
Tendencies, he's never portrayed as irredeemable. His flaws are what make him human. His tunnel vision, his lack of regard for personal boundaries, these are all things that normal people struggle with. His fellow heroes have flaws too. Dan is weak-willed, John believes everything he does is predestined, and Lori has a rather rocky relationship with her mother. What's more, all of the characters are aware of their flaws, and that includes Rorschach. He never pretends to be perfect, and he admits to Dan that he can be hard to get along with. Rorschach is a hero because none of his flaws get in the way of his unwavering commitment to justice. However flawed...
Which, honestly, you want to know what character that's? I know they've been doing a lot of comparisons to Batman, which is fair. But do you want to know what character you can also make that argument for? Fucking Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's lauded. Again, Spider-Man always puts justice first, no matter how fucking difficult that makes his life.
His understanding of justice may be, he does protect people and he puts in the work to figure out who killed the comedian. Being a hero in this universe sucks. Most of the original masks hung up their capes due to a lack of costumed villains and because of internal issues. Rorschach isn't like that. He doesn't do it for the money or prestige. He simply does what he feels is right. And despite what you may think, Alan Moore respects that. Now, let's take a character that the author actually does somewhat despise and resent. Nicole from Class of '09. Nicole fits into this
Huh. I am not familiar with Class of '09. Alright, we better learn something new, boys. Let's go.
category of characters who are entirely justified by the crapsack world they live in. Other characters in this category include the Imperium of Man from Warhammer 40k, Derek Vineyard from American History X, and the Terran Federation from Starship Troopers. In all three cases, the protagonists are extremely racist and xenophobic, but the people/creatures they're bigoted against really are out to get them, and extending the olive branch has negative results. Nicole is similar to this in that she's written as bigoted against men, in a world where every single male...
Rorschach is the character who will always win a fair fight. It's kill or be killed. Yep, 100%.
This in that extending the olive branch has negative results. Nicole is similar to this in that she's written as bigoted against men, in a world where every single male really is either a pedophile, a crook, extremely violent, or is some kind of degenerate. Of course, she doesn't really treat women any better. People in general only exist to her so far as they can help her get what she wants, with Jekka being a possible exception. But then again, most of the women aren't that much better. Pretty much everyone Nicole decides to go after, besides Ari, absolutely deserves it. And what's more, successfully getting one over on them often leads to a good ending. Nicole waging a libelous lawsuit against the school gets all the pedos arrested, and a settlement that sends her all the way to LA to hang out with Nicole Richie. Getting Kyler to accidentally kill himself either makes you the valedictorian by graduation, or allows you to make a successful living as the founder of r/female dating strategy. On the other hand, trying to be genuinely nice to people results in Nicole's suicide.
Okay, so it's not an anime, it's a visual novel, by the way. That would be why I'm not familiar with it. I don't do visual novels. I want to actually play my fucking video games.
So, what moral lesson are we meant to take from this? It's possible that Nicole was written like this because Max Fields, the author of the game, was living out a wish fulfillment fantasy through her. On Reddit, one of his previous friends claims that he wanted...
Well, he's a Reddit user, so we already know he's gonna be fucking retarded.
...to be the bully in high school, but he never was because he lacked the social skills to do so. This same friend also replied to the question of, is the game a version of reality he wishes happened? With yes. Now, these accusations could be entirely baseless, but Fields being a hypocrite, treating Nicole as his ideal self while not actually wanting people to emulate her, would explain the dip in quality between the re-up and the flip side. Oh, you thought Nicole was so cool, huh? Well, now she's gonna give foot jobs to Jeffrey and Jekka's dad. Bet you feel stupid now, you...
What the fuck? I'm starting to be very glad I have no idea what this class of 09 shit is.
Pedophiles. Funny how this came out in the same year as Joker Folie à Deux, but that'll be for another video. The flip side ends with Max directly stating to the player that everything that happens to you is your fault. It's our own choices that determine our destiny and no one else's. That's a message I agree with, but the way it's presented is just dumb. Making bad, immoral choices is a great way to succeed in this game. I distinctly remember trying to be as much of an asshole as possible in my first playthrough and getting the graduation ending. There's an old adage in writing called show don't tell, but actually showing Nicole suffering consequences for her actions wouldn't be nearly as fun for Max as showing her riding high for extended periods of time before telling us afterwards that, oh, she totally got...
Bro, I guarantee you the author of this fetishist, bro. He fetishizes this sort of shit. I bet he beat his meat constantly while making this fucking game.
Comeuppance later on, and that's only when she actually gets a bad ending. It's kind of like the censored Chinese ending of Fight Club, where instead of the banks blowing up, it cuts to black and a bunch of text on screen explain that the...
Wait, through the clue provided by Tyler, the police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested all criminals, successfully preventing the bomb from exploding. After the trial, Tyler was sent to a lunatic asylum receiving psychological treatment. He was discharged. What? I never knew that this is there was a Chinese alternate ending to Fight Club like this. That's fucking hilarious.
Authorities came in, saved everyone, and put the narrator in a mental hospital. It really is a tragedy.
By the way, that is how the book ends. Not with the bombs being stopped and whatnot, but with him going to a mental. So when he blows his brains out to kill Tyler in the book, he blows out the chunk of his brain where Tyler exists. But he is left with permanent brain damage, and he is left in a psychiatric facility that he thinks is heaven, and all the orderlies are angels, but the angels are actually all in real life members of Project Mayhem and are still referring to him as Mr. Durden, and Project Mayhem is still out there doing shit. Like, the book ending is actually way fucking better than the movie ending.
Thing when creators hate their own fan base. According to the Reddit MMA, Max Fields sabotages himself every time he gets too popular because he can't stand people enjoying the games the wrong way. I don't want to harp on this thread too much because it's pure hearsay, but it really does feel like the flip side. Okay, in the middle of writing this, I hopped on over to Max Fields' thread on Kiwi Farms, and I found this gem.
Kiwi Farms always goes hard! Let's go, son!
Max Fields is suing the creator of the AMA thread to the tune of $357,000.
What?
This isn't meant to be a drama video, but to me, the AMA suddenly seems far more credible. As I was saying...
Holy shit! So because he did dude asked him for an AMA, he did the AMA, he gets fucking roasted for all of his answers. Now he's gonna sue the guy? That's fucking hilarious.
The flip side is exactly like Joker 2, a bad faith effort to slander its predecessor through character assassination and shoddy storytelling. If you wanted to deconstruct Nicole, why not have her experience real consequences on screen? What if you introduced a genuine, morally upright character who acts as an antagonist against Nicole and actually wins? Bonus points if it's a male who's not a creep or a racist. To use the Joker as an analog again, look at Alan Moore's The Killing Joke. Instead of having the Joker raped...
Again, by the way, much we want to shit on Alan Moore, Killing Joke's a good goddamn book.
Moore lets Joker lay out his philosophy, shows us his backstory, and then has him genuinely lose. His plot to drive Commissioner Gordon insane fails because Gordon is a good man at heart who holds on to his principles. But having Nicole fail like this would get in the way of Max getting to be the cool bully instead of the lame nerd. Instead, we have Nicole exist in a world where she's always the smartest person in the room. Thanks to her cunning ruthlessness, she's always a step ahead of the men who want to sexually abuse her and the women who want to drag her down. She always has a stinging barb ready, and she always gets the last word. how are we not supposed to treat her as the hero? Why would we ever want her to change? There are many other characters like this, but I think I've made my point pretty well. Saying that you missed the point by idolizing them completely glosses over any critical examination of the character's words, actions, and the context that they're in. It's a thought-terminating cliche used by authors to avoid responsibility.
Yeah, dude, Dax, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm subbing to this guy. I may or may not reach out to him. We'll see. I'll peruse through his X, some of his other videos and whatnot. I may reach out to this guy. Yeah, big ups.
For their own creations. It used to be that, according to the Hays Code, you weren't allowed to portray criminals getting away with their actions on film. If a thief stole, he wasn't allowed to outrun the cops. If a cop was corrupt, once his superiors found out, he would be arrested, not covered for. The Hays Code was eventually discarded in favor of telling more interesting stories about morally gray characters. It was always understood that the reason such characters had been banned was because they were compelling. And the reason why the ban was lifted was because audiences were smart enough to distinguish right and wrong for themselves. But
gee, it's almost like we're seeing this again today in the modern era with all these online censorship and censorship in general. They want to force an ideological and cultural change because audiences are smart and understand the way the world works in real life. I'll be dropping his link after this video. Don't worry. Yeah, AJ, I always drop links for good videos when we're done. When we're just about finished. But yeah, again, history may not repeat, but absolutely rhymes.
Modern media literacy folk don't think like that. To them, audiences are filthy, unwashed masses who have to be lectured constantly. To them, liking a character who's written to be smart and attractive is a moral failing. And if they get their way, we'll eventually get a new Hays Code that's probably even worse than the original one. But more about that in part 2.
Shit, he gonna cover. All right, I guarantee you he's gonna go into all this censorship and stuff. All right, so yeah, we're gonna hit that sub. I'm gonna need to remember to try and check this guy out. Let's give this a like. All right, I'm gonna throw this in the chat for you guys if you want to sub or like whatnot. Definitely give this guy some props. I need to step away for a brief moment because I've been drinking a lot of water and tea on this stream. I'll be right back. I mean, don't fall in. Realize I'm a dexterous. I got dexterity, okay? I'm like a fucking cat, bro. Alrighty. That was a good video. That was awesome. I don't even have much to add. That was just a good video. This, on the other hand, I'm concerned about, / curious about. Rapnad Scoobla put this in the Discord. How Nintendo's mistake allowed Sonic to rival Mario Kart. I'm curious what mistake we're referring to beyond Mario Kart being an $80 game. Alright, this could be interesting, so yeah, let's get into it.
Mario Kart World, the sequel to a game that sold over 75 million copies, had all it took to dominate the kart racing genre for years. But in 2025, something strange happened. Instead of destroying the competition, Nintendo's brand new game left an opening. And in that tiny crack, Sonic, the underdog whose racing games were always overshadowed, found his chance.
Now, has anyone here played Mario Kart World? I haven't. I don't have a Switch 2. I don't have a whole lot of interest in getting a Switch 2. But, so yeah, I haven't played Mario Kart World. And really, I haven't heard a lot about it, good or bad. But if you're not hearing a lot about it on either direction, maybe it's just average. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of Mario Kart 8. The controls felt odd to me. Like, original Mario Kart, well, not the original, but Mario Kart 64, Double Dash is the GOAT. Double Dash is the best, in my opinion. Like Mario Kart will never get as good as Double Dash was. Mario Kart Wii came close. I liked Mario Kart Wii a lot. So, but yeah.
Sonic Racing Crossworlds is thriving, The open beta exploded across Steam charts. Influencers and journalists claim they enjoyed it more than Mario Kart World. Crossover character announcements are going viral across the internet, and fans who skipped the Switch 2 felt vindicated. How is that possible? Sega has been saying for years they want Sonic to compete and catch up with Mario in games and movies. How could? Not a big new 3D title or blockbuster.
He says catch up with him in games and movies. Don't be real. When it comes to movies, Sonic got Mario beat, bro. Like, Mario made more money. Obviously, Mario made more money. 1.2 billion, 100%. But the quality of the movies, the writing, the characters, the stories, Sonic destroys the Mario movie. Oh snap, is this game actually... Dude, Crossworlds looks fucking awesome. I'm gonna get it. I rarely get games out the gate. I'm definitely getting Crossworlds.
Movie, but a racing game suddenly be the one to stand toe-to-toe with Mario. That's not just a video game fan debate. It's a major business case study. I'm Mr. Fascinating, and this is the story of how Nintendo accidentally allowed Sonic Crossworlds to succeed.
That is a moment of shame, AJ. Double Dash is the tits, bro. Double Dash is the best Mario Kart game. Like, bar none. But again, you said you played Wii. Mario Kart Wii was awesome as shit.
To understand why fans were so afraid Crossworlds would be a flop, you have to rewind to 2019. Sega released Team Sonic Racing, and fans hoped it would compete well with the upcoming Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. But it never stood a chance. The timing was brutal. Crash launched just weeks later, pulling the spotlight away instantly. And unlike the incredibly polished Crash remake, Team Sonic Racing looked like a budget side project. The game wasn't awful, but it lacked...
And to be fair, as someone who's played some of the Sonic Racing games, not a lot of them at length, but I have played a few. There's like 2 of them, I think. Or there's 2 that I've played. They're basically like, they're a game you would get like your nephew for Christmas because you're not sure what they're interested in. They're safe. The Sonic Racing games up to this point have been safe. Not inherently bad, but just they are safe.
Confidence. Sega stripped away the crossover cast from All-Stars Racing Transformed and removed various mechanics.
All-Stars Racing Transformed is fun, by the way. All-Stars Racing Transformed is fun. But that's not Sonic, that's Sega.
Team Sonic Racing was dead on arrival, and years passed without a new Sonic Racing game. Fans didn't believe Sega could ever come back. But then Nintendo made one mistake. Mario Kart World should have been untouchable. On paper, it had everything. New hardware, decades of brand dominance, and the kind of polish only Nintendo can deliver. It was the follow-up to one of the best-selling games of all time, after all. But Nintendo made a risky creative...
I agree with AJ 100%. Bring back Billy Hatcher.
Decision. They shifted the series toward an open-world structure, with exploration and intermission paths between races. For some players, it was exciting. For others, it broke the very thing that made Mario Kart legendary. Pure, unfiltered momentum. Critics were receptive. An 86 on Metacritic is nothing to scoff at, but the user score told a different story, a lukewarm 7.0. That's where the truth surfaced. Beneath the glossy reviews, players were quietly frustrated. The pace felt off. The flow state of racing got interrupted by intermission tracks that weren't as fun. Nintendo expected fans to celebrate innovation. They even forced intermission tracks on online multiplayer, but instead...
Wait, really? Even the online multiplayer has... Is there a way to turn that off and like just do a circuit? Like, if there's not just a way to do a circuit, then what's the fucking point?
Instead, many fans felt like they'd lost the game they loved. Like the sequel they awaited for over 10 years was not at all what they wanted. And here's the irony. In trying to expand Mario Kart into something bigger, Nintendo accidentally created a vacuum. Suddenly, there was space for a game that gave players what Mario Kart didn't. That's exactly where Sonic Crossworld's free open beta came in. Crossworlds was being marketed for a few months, but the open beta would be the ultimate turning point. In an act of insane courage, Sega decided to let players test the game for free on all platforms. It was a gamble. If the game disappointed, word of mouth could have killed it before launch. There would be no chance for the game to succeed. Yet somehow, the development team was hugely confident. You can feel this...
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. Ever since Sonic Frontiers, Sega has been stating that they want Sonic to be taken seriously again. They want these games to have... Because, you gotta remember, cause Sonic 06 was a AAA game. Sonic 06 was a AAA game. And that was its downfall. Sega didn't give the developers the time or resources to actually give it AAA polish. And it went down in infamy as one of the worst video games ever made. And ever since then, Sonic has been a double-A title. Like, that doesn't mean it's bad. There are good Sonic. Everyone loves Sonic Unleashed, at least certain versions of it. Everyone loves Sonic Generations. Everyone loves Sonic Mania. But Sonic was reduced to a double-A title. Frontiers, while still double-A, had more love and care and whatnot put into it. And the reception was great. And after the success of Frontiers, the developers, Iizuka, Takahashi Iizuka, I think that's his name, the lead developer on Sonic, was like, we're bringing Sonic back. We're bringing Sonic back. No more of this double-A bullshit. So to see this level of care and craft and whatnot put into a racing game, I'm surprised, but also very happy to see and hear.
Confidence in the words of series producer Takashi Iizuka. Of course, we don't know the roadmap of
Takashi, not Takahashi. Takashi. Okay, I was damn close.
Mario Kart titles. However, typically when
Well, what's he
Nintendo...
say? Sonic Series producer Takashi Iizuka says the team was expecting Nintendo to release a new Mario Kart. Mario Kart World has no influence on Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Of course, we don't know the roadmap of Mario Kart titles, so when it was announced, the dev team was surprised about it. However, typically when Nintendo releases new hardware, it's pretty common they also release a new karting title. So the dev team was somewhat expecting a new Mario Kart to be released soon. Whether or not Mario Kart was going to be released, our goal was to develop the best kind of Sonic Racing title. That hasn't changed. Mario Kart World won't have any influence. Dude! That's dope. That's a good statement. Like, and this goes back to the Silk Song conversation from yesterday. This is how a developer should be handling moments like that. Like, that's all those indie devs being bitch made about Silk Song. Nah, dude, Takashi Iizuka hit the nail on the head. This is how you handle those sorts of moments.
Releases new hardware, it's pretty common that they also release a new karting title. So the dev team was somewhat expecting a new Mario Kart.
I did not know he was
going to
read the whole thing. My bad.
Whether or not Mario Kart was going to be released, our goal was to develop the best kind of Sonic racing title. That hasn't changed. Mario Kart World won't have any influence. They released the open beta. And
see, AJ says, I don't see how the wave racers compete with souped up cars, though. I don't like the in my opinion, I know you're not disingenuous, AJ, but like there are people that disingenuously say it, like, oh, why does Mario or Sonic need to be in a car? It's like, okay, it's just a genre of video game. Like, why did Shadow need a gun? Because gamers wanted FPS games were all the rage, shooting games were all the rage, and Sega had been getting letters about Sonic, them wanting Sonic to have a gun, and Sega was like, all right, we ain't giving Sonic a gun. We can give Shadow a gun. Like, there are players out there that just want to experience their favorite characters in different genres, different dynamics. Also, it makes sense that, you know, you got someone like Amy, right? You got Amy. You've got these traditionally in canon slower characters. By putting everyone in a car, yeah, canonically, can Sonic run faster in a car? Yes. But does that mean he wouldn't drive or wouldn't do something if there was a situation that's dependent on it? I would say no. I think the gameplay outweighs the canon lore or whatever. It's not like this is a main entry into the Sonic, canon or whatnot.
didn't disappoint at all. The opposite happened. It blew everyone's minds. Player counts skyrocketed, streams flooded Twitch, and the sentiment flipped. Big influencers admitted they were having more fun with Sonic than Mario. Media outlets published headlines daring to suggest that Sonic Racing might actually feel better than Mario Kart World, and that the game validated not buying a Switch 2. The Switch 2 was already controversial on launch, and now fans who didn't buy it suddenly pointed to Crossworlds as their refuge.
Yes,
You
it
have to
was,
remember
Radnad.
how
What up,
huge the
Frag
Mario
Monkey?
Kart franchise is. Mario Kart 8 sold over 75 million copies. A sequel to such a juggernaut.
What? No way. Really? Hold on. We're going to fact check that. How many copies did Mario Kart 8 sell? We're not going to do Deluxe, just Kart 8, because that'll probably include both. Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe have sold over 76.6 million. Holy shit! I didn't realize Mario Kart 8 did fucking numbers. I knew it was popular. But bro, that is fucking numbers. Wow. Like, hold on. For reference, how How many copies did Mario Galaxy sell? I'm just curious. 12.8 million copies. All right. How about Breath of the Wild? 34.3. Bro, Mario Kart 8. Yes, they sold it twice. I get that. They sold it twice. But nobody had a Wii U. Nobody had a Wii U. So I don't really think that matters quite as much. That is fucking bonkers.
With Nintendo's trademark massive level of raw quality, should have left no space at all for any competition to survive. But Sega didn't outdevelop Nintendo. They didn't outpolish them. They simply outcommitted. Let me explain. Crossworlds wasn't trying to be Mario Kart's equal. It was trying to be its opposite, and fans noticed. The problem with Mario Kart World is that the game didn't fully please any kind of player. Mario Kart World didn't go all in on either being an open-world revolution, nor a pure arcade title like the fans were used to. The game's exploration lacked a substantial progression system to keep players hooked, and intermission tracks quickly annoyed online players. This left a massive kart racing loving audience, feeling hungry for a new pure arcade experience, which they were craving for years, and that's exactly what Crossworlds is. Crossworlds committed fully to arcade chaos. The game is packed with tight tracks, constant action, and gameplay that rewards expression not through exploration, but through tactile mastery. Sega, by going all in on Crossworlds being a pure chaotic arcade game, accidentally positioned Sonic as the absolute savior for players who felt betrayed.
Dude, I cannot wait for this game. I can't fucking wait. This is gonna be so goddamn fun. Bro, this is gonna be awesome.
By Mario Kart World's new direction. This is a core business lesson. If you leave your audience's demands unattended, someone else will quickly supply them. Sega also made the smartest move possible at the perfect time. Crossplay. Crossworlds doesn't lock players into one ecosystem. PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or Switch players. They can all race together. Meanwhile, Mario Kart World tied itself to the Switch 2, a console many fans didn't even want. This was a major deal. Instead of buying expensive...
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. This is objectively true, but I don't think it's a fair argument. Like, yes, Mario Kart's locked to the Switch too. But all Mario games are locked to Nintendo. Like, that's... duh. Nintendo is the only company where exclusivity matters. So, I mean, that's kind of a given. Now, it was smart for Sega to do crossplay. Absolutely smart for Sega to do crossplay. Frag Monkey, your daughter has good taste.
New hardware for a game they weren't sure about, players could jump into Sonic's Racer instantly and with friends. The free beta
yes, it is,
turned into a
LMA.
movement. People weren't just playing, they were spreading the game to all of their social circles. And once a community feels bigger than the game itself, it snowballs. Sonic Racing Crossworlds transformed from that Sonic Racer nobody asked for into the racing game everyone's talking about. Even Takashi Iizuka admitted to the importance of crossplay. He says, "I think crossplay is one of the key features. Being able to play with users worldwide on all platforms is one of the key things we've put a lot of effort into." He also mentions the game's greater depth than most other kart races. Another differentiating factor to Mario Kart, Iizuka says, is the gadget system. This adds depth to the racing, and is something other kart racers aren't doing. The most shocking...
Okay, and that is proof that Sega is trying to bring back Sonic in a big way. They're going back to innovation. Like, Sonic Frontiers, and while I love Sonic Frontiers, I don't really think it's innovative. It's basically very similar to Breath of the Wild. It's very, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of games were emulating Breath of the Wild after Breath of the Wild came out. Makes sense. Breath of the Wild did a lot of good shit. It sold fucking gangbusters. A lot of people want a piece of that pie. So Sonic Frontiers, taking inspiration from Breath of the Wild, is good, but it's not necessarily innovative.
Part, the game still isn't even fully released. If the full launch delivers even half of what the beta promised, this could become the most successful Sonic spin-off in decades, maybe the most successful Sonic spin-off of all time. Think about it. There are even insane crossover characters like Hatsune Miku, Joker from Persona, Steve,
and that gonna be my main, baby! Joker from Persona gonna be your boy's main. I don't know if there's really, like, because a lot of these kart racers don't do differentiating characters. They're effectively all skins, but they're the same. Like, they're the same character, but they all play. You know, they all play the same. It's just who you want to choose. But I don't give, regardless of Joker stats, Joker gonna be my main. Hundo.
SpongeBob and Pac-Man to keep the game alive. And in mid-September, Sega will strike again, releasing a new free single-player demo to keep interest high. And Sonic, more than any other gaming icon, is the underdog. He's the rebel who was born to dethrone Mario in the 90s, who tasted glory, then collapsed into decades of inconsistency and ridicule. Fans lived through that pain. So when Sonic actually succeeds at something, especially against Mario...
Guys, we did. We did live through that pain. We lived through that pain because we knew that Sonic was like the South. It would rise again.
It doesn't just feel like a win for Sega. It feels like a personal victory for everyone who still believes. That's why the hype around Crossworlds feels so electric. Fans aren't just excited about a fun kart racer. They're emotionally invested in watching Sonic finally stand tall. And that emotional payoff is something Nintendo can't replicate. Mario has always been
What
the
up,
safe
Bobby?
choice, the guaranteed champion. Sonic, on the other hand, makes you feel like you're fighting for something every time he wins. That's why fans are celebrating Crossworlds louder than Mario Kart World.
Bro, and like,
because deep down,
unrelated to the video, this level design looks bonkers. And I mean that in the best possible way. Like, I want to see, like, kart racing games like this that are fucking wild. Mario Kart, to me, since Wii, hasn't really felt like they've upped the ante in terms of the level design. Did you see the way Knuckles was weaving in and out of those, like, museum displays? That looked like, dude, that could, one mistake gonna take you from first place to fucking last. This shit gonna be wild.
it feels like justice. No matter what happened, Sega kept on believing there was still room for Sonic to matter, and for once, the world agreed. This isn't just about kart racing video games. It's about what happens when giants stumble. Nintendo left an opening, and Sega, against all odds, actually
Dude,
took
that's
it.
my favorite level in Wii, AJ. Coconut Mall is my favorite level in Mario Kart Wii.
Success strengthened Sonic's already fast rise in popularity since the start of the 2020s. What started all the way with the first Sonic movie is being continued by Crossworld's explosion. And if this snowball keeps growing larger and larger, Nintendo will have to face a truth they've avoided for years. Mario might not be invincible after all. And if you want to understand more deeply how Crossworlds avoids all of the mistakes of Team Sonic Racing, click this video before it disappears from your screen.
Well, we're not going to do that, but I am going to go ahead and give you some props. We're going to drop this in the chat. There y'all go. Yeah, man. Like, I'm always excited for a new Sonic game. I am. Obviously, I'm a fucking fan. You know, you see the Amy Rose behind me, all the Sonic merch I got, shit like that. I'm world's biggest Sonic fan. That being said, there's nothing that should have me excited about a Sonic kart racer. Or there's nothing that should have me this excited about a Sonic kart racer. Because most of this stuff is just cheap. Throw it out there so there's a title. You know, not put a whole lot of money what's the word? Polish into it. But this is the exact opposite. Like, this is legit looking like the exact opposite. They went all in on this, and I am surprised to see them go all in on a Sonic racing game of all things. But if they're willing to do that for the Sonic racing game, bro, imagine what the next mainline entry will be. Imagine what the next mainline Sonic entry will be. That shit going to be magic. Sonic gets an automatic chance because of the redesign of the movie. There's that too. Because of the, people are 100% willing to give good faith to Sonic products in general because of the movie and the way it treated fans. You're entirely correct. Alrighty. Now, I have a feeling I'm going to hate this video. I'm going to hate this video. Hold on. Let me show you all the thumbnail first. Let me show you all the thumbnail. Because this is ridiculous. All right. One Piece isn't political. Are you dumb? And is this dude pointing at all these manga panels and whatnot? So remember how we were watching that video a minute ago about media literacy? You know, he's like, oh, why you shouldn't idolize characters, shit like that. I guarantee you, this is gonna be one dumb fucking media illiterate motherfucker who's gonna position himself as an authority figure on the matter, and we're a bunch of dumb plebeians for claiming. By the way, One Piece isn't political. Whether it is or isn't is going to depend on what you mean by political. So, out the gate, I'm going to say, yes, One Piece is political, but not in the way what I'm going to assume morons like this claim. And if I am wrong, fair enough, I'm wrong.
Take pop up online that people are saying One Piece is not political, and I would like to congratulate everybody that has said that, because you just outed yourself as somebody that has enjoyed a franchise, or at least known of a franchise that is over 20 years old and skipped past every single part with nuance, and probably
I knew it. I knew it. All right, guys, One Piece is not political in the sense of the word that we use political today. All right. Oh, Star Wars isn't. No, you're right. Phantom Menace is not political. Phantom Menace is not political in terms of how we use the term political today. Now, obviously, the Phantom Menace is all political. The whole goddamn movie is about politics. But it is about universal human truths and politics throughout human history, not modernity. So let's see what this Yahoo has to say.
think liberation is just a brand of shampoo. You have done the impossible. You have transcended the realm of lunacy when it comes to understanding and dying with media literacy. You are phenomenal, and I salute.
He said the words! We're 30 seconds in, and he said the words. He said media literacy.
You because you deserve to be in a different planet, a different country, a different Jupiter where men are beyond stupider. You are beyond that. You are incredible. I would have never guessed that you would have done that in this reality. One Piece is political in the same way the ocean is wet, the sky is up, and capitalism is exhausting. The main character is literally a pirate who topples.
Did he just say capitalism is hold on.
And capitalism is exhausting.
We have a commie, a black Afro-touting, commie, media literate One Piece fan. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. This gon' be good.
Main character is literally a pirate who topples fascist regimes. That's the entire story of the show. One Piece is woke. I don't know if you knew that either.
Boys, we might be in for the long haul on this one. We might be in for the long haul on this one. One Piece is not woke. Something being political does not mean it's woke. Like, he is a pirate. Yes. He is a pirate. That doesn't make something woke. Doesn't make something political. He's a pirate. Does he topple fascist regimes? Yes. Was that ever his goal or his intent? No. Has that become his goal and his intent? Yes. Why? Because these fascist regimes are in the way of his goal of getting the One Piece treasure.
It destroys monarchies and fights a world government that censors truth, enslaves people, and commits genocide in the name of order. That is.
So you mean what communists have done? What communists have historically done? Hold on, let's run that back.
Censors truth.
Censors truth. Communists did that.
Enslaves people.
Communists did that.
And commits genocide. And
communists have done that. Communism all around, Darky!
In the name of order. That is actively everything in One Piece. You think Luffy is out here yelling, I'm gonna be the king of the pirates for fun? No, that's a declaration of war against a hierarchical system that murders anybody who dares to dream too loudly.
First of all, no, One Piece is not lame. One Piece is modern Shakespeare. It's the greatest literary work of the 21st century, but whatever.
That is what Luffy's doing. That's it. That's the exact. That's what it is. Luffy doesn't just want freedom. He wants to break the chain so hard the world never fits back together the same way again. And every time someone brings this up, there's a dude in the corner clenching his Zoro body pillow, whispering, "It's just about friendship and Nakama." Sure.
No one's ever said that. No one has ever said that. Bro is shadow boxing. But bro is shadowboxing at high noon when there are no shadows.
And the Matrix is about leather jackets. That's what I know. The Matrix is about leather jackets. I think it's about Neo fighting agents. That's really cool. The One Piece government is so blatantly evil. They make the Empire from Star Wars look like a mismanaged homeowners association. They cover up history, the Void Century. They erase people. They erase whole islands. They bomb children. They use propaganda to frame rebels as criminals.
Everything he just said, the Empire in Star Wars has also done. Literally everything he just said, the Empire in Star Wars has done. So, like, you want to call us tourists, but you do not know anything about Star Wars. You are a Star Wars tourist trying to call us anime tourists. Bro, this hurts.
Think about how they frame Luffy as somebody that organized a deadly plan to take out Big Mom. That's what the news and government said. That's what happened. And they have an entire secret police division dedicated to erasing inconvenient.
From what I've seen, Luffy is after his own goals and brings along good people who can help him achieve it. He has no interest in taking down Marines. Correct. AJ is entirely correct.
Truths, CP9, CP0. If you don't think that's political, you've either been asleep for the last 50 years of global politics, or you're trying very hard not to see the very obvious mirror Oda is holding up because you don't know how to be introspective.
So you trying to tell me, again, guys, Oda started writing this in 1997. So what, did he just know that the world was going to be woke in fucking 2020, and that's why you see all this quote-unquote woke stuff in One Piece that isn't actually there or whatnot? Because he had fucking 30-year foresight? No, maybe some of this shit is just universal truths that you're billing as woke because it fits your fucking worldview.
Celestial dragons literally live in bubbles because they believe the air regular people breathe is beneath them. They own slaves. They own slaves. They shoot poor people for fun. They wear leashes on their human property like they're walking a dog made of suffering. This isn't subtle. This isn't buried in lore. This is the text. One Piece is not a silly pirate story, is it? It is
a silly pirate story, and that's fine. You can have something be a silly story and also be incredibly dark and deep and have all this world building and have all these messages. Like, you can do both. It's not mutually exclusive. It is both political, real political in terms of universal human truths about politics that date back to ancient Greece or further, and a silly pirate story.
Thesis on systematic oppression. It's political. It's anti-authoritarian. It's punk rock disguised as shonen jump. That's what it is. Remember that whole arc with Fishman Island, the one where we learn about discrimination, slavery, generational trauma, and internalized hatred so deep it spans centuries? Yeah, that wasn't filler. That was a political education disguised as merman world building. That's what happened. That's what it is. Fisher Tiger died for a cause. Odahime preached peace and got assassinated. Jinbei literally says the word racism.
Okay, but again, that does not make something political in the way that he is using the phrase. Like, if you are going to world build, if you're going to build a world in a story, yes, there needs to be some sort of politics to it within the frame of that world. Now, for you to claim that One Piece is political, give me an actual allegory, something historically relevant, modern or otherwise, that Oda is intentionally referencing. For you to call it political, don't just say, oh, it has this, this, and this, so it's political. All right, give me something allegorical that it is intentionally referencing. Because if it's not doing that, and it's just using universal human truths in history, then that's just storytelling.
Arlong is a villain who is radicalized by oppression. Hody Jones is the white supremacist version of that. It's all right there. He's exactly right.
What do you mean the white supremacist? Homie, Oda's Japanese. Oda's Japanese. They don't fucking have white supremacy. Oh, it's fucking Japan. They're not white. Also, historically speaking, Japs kind of don't like dark-skinned motherfuckers. I'll be real. Japanese folk, historically speaking, don't like brown people. What are you getting at?
There. And the people who say One Piece isn't political are the same ones who said, I don't see race, while watching Zoro slice a racist in half is what will happen in front of their face, despite the fact that Zoro is racist. But we're not on that. The arc wasn't just about fish and water. It was about the consequences of hate and the impossibility of healing when justice never shows up. If you miss the message...
Dude is proving every single stereotype from that previous video we watched about how media literacy people are the most surface level motherfuckers. This guy's proving every bit of that correct.
That's not because it wasn't there. It's because you didn't want to see it through the fog of your own comfort. You ever wonder why Dragon, Luffy's dad, mind you, is wanted by the world government more than actual mass murders? It's because he's trying to dismantle the entire system. He is the world's most wanted man. He leads a revolutionary army. That's not a metaphor. That's not subtle. That's Che Guevara meets Monkey D. lore. That Dragon...
Bro, okay. I made the assumption he was communist. Based on him saying capitalism's exhausting. But he out here praising Che Guevara. He calling Monkey D. Dragon Che Guevara in the One Piece. By the way, Che Guevara wasn't exactly very fucking successful. You could have brought up so many other far more successful revolutionaries. I'm fucking broken.
Doesn't want to reform the government. He wants to burn it to the ground and dance on the ashes of the corrupted. Every time Sabo appears, he's not just there to say, "Hi, I'm Blonde Ace. Let me do a little black flip." He's torching symbols of tyranny.
Hold on. Did y'all hear that?
And dance on the ashes of the corrupted. Every time Sabo appears, he's not just there to say, "Hi, I'm Blonde Ace. Let me do a little black flip."
Said black flip. Didn't say back. This dude is so goddamn race obsessed, he couldn't even say backflip without subconsciously including race into this shit.
He's torching symbols of tyranny and recruiting child soldiers who've been abandoned by the
yes, corn boy. Shay hated black people as well.
One Piece is about hope and rebellion, joy and war, goofy power-ups and resistance. You can't separate the pirate aesthetic from the revolutionary message. They're one and the same. If you're watching...
Wait. Are you talking about in One Piece or in general? Either way, you're wrong. But you can't separate the pirate message from the revolution. Yeah, you can. But pirates in real life weren't fucking revolutionaries. They were rapists, pillagers, plunderers. They were criminals. Yes, governments are also criminals. Obviously, I'm an anarchist. I think governments are criminals. So really, when you got like the fucking the British merchant marines versus the pirates in history. Yeah, that's just criminals versus criminals as far as I'm concerned. But what about goddamn Viva la Revolution or nothing like that? And in terms of within One Piece, no, not all pirates are revolutionaries. In fact, the majority of pirates in One Piece are just other fucking pirates. There's dudes out there stealing shit and fucking shit up. What are we doing?
One Piece for the fights but skipping the politics. That's like ordering a burger and throwing away the meat. You have done nothing. There's an entire the void century. There's an entire century of erased history in One Piece. And you're telling me that's not political. It's literally a totalitarian
No
regime.
one has ever said it wasn't political. No one has ever said One Piece isn't political. Or if they use the phrase One Piece isn't political, what we are saying, and what is objectively correct by the way, is that One Piece is not a mechanism to preach modernity, left-leaning, pro-communist, pro-socialist sentiments. It is none of that.
Rewriting the past to keep its control intact. They commit cultural genocide, forbid research, and kill archaeologists. That is the...
Yes! Things that the commies have done. Things that the Nazis, the National Socialist Party, have done.
Entire O'Hara incident. They don't want truth. They want compliance. Robin's entire character is built on this. She's a living threat because she knows too much. That's not a subplot. That's a warning. Robin saw her entire.
Okay, it is a subplot, though. Something could be a subplot and a warning. Again, for someone that preaches about media literacy, he's not using these terms correctly. Robin, yes, her story is a warning. However, it is not the main plot. And because it's not the main plot, by definition, it is a subplot.
Entire homeland burned for trying to understand the past. This is a real-world parallelism from libraries burnt in war to whistleblowers' silence, from empires rewriting history to governments erasing atrocities. They're all there. Oda isn't pulling this from fantasy. He's pulling it.
Yes, correct. It is all there. Which is what makes it not political. Again, not in the modern sense. This is what makes it human. This is what makes it to be. This is why it is storytelling. It is eternal. Because it is real. These are fictionalized interpretations of humanity. Okay? It goes beyond political. It eclipses political.
From reality. If you can't see that, I don't even know what to. I don't even know what to. There's always that one guy. There's that one guy. He says it's a show for kids, bro. It's not that deep. This guy hasn't read a book in years. Last book he read was Animal.
It can be both, by the way. It can be deep and be a show for kids. Star Wars is deep. I don't care how many of y'all don't want to acknowledge it. Now, I'm talking about original Star Wars, not that homo-ass Disney shit. Original Star Wars is deep. It's also for fucking 12-year-olds. They're not fucking mutually exclusive.
Farm in freshman year, and he didn't know that the pig was a bad guy. That's that guy. The guy who's read Dr. Seuss and thought Green Eggs and Ham was just, this is the greatest cinema masterpiece of all time. This guy thinks nuance is a type of pasta. Yes, One Piece is for kids, but it's also for adults. The same way
Correct.
the road to...
Correct. So what are you talking about? What's your point? If One Piece is for kids and adults, i.e. that means it's for everyone, and different people are going to take different things away from it, which is fine.
Colorado is also for kids and adults. That's the point. Oda doesn't spoon-feed morals. He plants them, waters them, lets them grow inside characters, inside arcs, inside you. This show can be funny, sad, violent, goofy, political.
Yeah, Oda does all of that. So what's your argument about being political? Because he doesn't spoon-feed morals, therefore it's political? That's fucking... Yeah, a good writer doesn't spoon-feed morals. The ones that do spoon-feed morals are the ones we complain about being political. You can say it, but with a soft A. Or you can say some other slur, like you know, monkey or something. But yeah, no. The fact that he does not spoon-feed morals is why it's not political. At least not political in the way that, again, it is colloquially used nowadays.
And hopeful all at once, all together. That's what makes it art. And honestly, if your idea of children's media excludes political thought, then I'm begging you to rewatch The Lion King. Rewatch The Lion King and tell me Scar wasn't a commentary on fascism.
The Lion... AJ, I'm gonna need your thoughts on this. AJ, I'm gonna need your thoughts on this. Assuming you're still in the chat, was Scar a commentary on fascism? Or is it fucking Hamlet, but with lions? What the fuck are we talking about here? I'm hurt. I'm fucking hurt. Exactly, Pouty. Exactly, Pouty. Hamlet with motherfucking lions. This guy is a try-hard.
Kids deserve stories with weight. They can handle it. It's
agreed. No one has ever said kids don't deserve... I've been the biggest proponent of fucking kids getting stories with weight. But that doesn't mean it's political.
The adults who want everything to be numb, brain rot food, cocoa melon garbage, comfort food anime that never bites back. If One Piece were truly apolitical, it would
I love that, Enzo.
It lasted because it means something. So if One Piece is clearly political, Why are so many people desperate to say it's not? And I think I discovered why. It's easy.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear his massive revelation as to why people discovered whys.
Because once you admit it, you have to confront the worldviews it changes. You have to admit that you might be siding with the celestial dragons, huh? Oh my goodness. My real worldview is that I'm with the villain, huh?
You would be the... Dude, this homie would be... No, he never did define political, by the way, Sir Larkington. He did not. He would be the one siding with the celestial dragons because he's a fucking communist. He is the one who is advocating for common communist practices that we've seen existing the world over, historically speaking, is what the celestial like, there is no world in which communism has ever, will ever, create or generate freedom. The entire story of One Piece is antithetical to this dude's communist beliefs.
I actually really like Akai Inu. That maybe your beloved justice-loving Marines are complacent in oppression. Garp, watching you, Garp. That maybe the people you called villains had a good point. It's easier to pretend the fight is just for treasure than to face the fact that it's for liberation. And liberation means discomfort. It means change.
Okay, but it's not for liberation, all right? If it was, the show would focus on the Liberation Army. Why does it follow Luffy? Because Luffy is a boy with a dream. He wants to be the king of the pirates. Now, does that mean he is going to come face to face with the oppositions that have all these different views and world points, and he's going to have to fight them? Yes. But why is he fighting them? For his fucking dream, for his story, for his moral arc. If you were wanting a story like about liberation being the answer and that being the point, then it would follow the literal Liberation Army. Yes, it is all about freedom. It is 100% about freedom. One Piece has always been a story about freedom. But that is not inherently political. That's human. Humans want to be free. Humans deserve to be free. Humans need to be free. Again, these are tales as old as time.
It means empathy for people you don't relate to. And that's the scariest part of all for the people who want anime to validate their worldview, not challenge it.
Dude, you've spent this entire video coping to get One Piece to validate your worldview. Dude, this smooth brain is so broken, he doesn't realize what he just said. Yes, Dax, the irony.
They want Luffy without the revolution. They want action without consequence. They want to sail the seas but never think about who controls the map. Are you daft? At the end of the day, I just want to tell you this right now. The straw hat isn't just a cool design. It's not a branding choice. It's a promise. A promise that no matter how cruel the world is, no matter how high the odds, no matter how loud the lies or how deep the wounds, there are people who will stand up, who will fight back, who will say no loud enough that the walls fall down. That's not apolitical.
Dude, we've seen this from story after story after fucking story. Homie needs to stop reading One Piece and start reading some Dostoevsky.
That's not passive. That's revolutionary. One Piece is about joy, but it's also about rage, about grief, about freedom. It's a story that dances with fire and laughs in the face of kings. If you only that's political, then maybe you're watching the wrong show. I just don't know what to tell ya. You want another reason why One Piece is political? Let's talk about capitalism.
No, Fred Monkey. Don't you be lumping this motherfucker around with us. This is not an American. He may have been born here, but this is not an American.
Because holy hell, Oda cooked.
Hey, what up,
is in the
Sebi?
kitchen cooking. Every single villain with any real institutional power is either hoarding wealth, abusing labor, or literally turning people into commodities. From Doflamingo auctioning off human lives like collectibles, to Wappo eating poor people and monetizing monarchy, to the shady underworld where business just means exploitation with a cool hat. It's all there. That's not subtle. Oda put late-stage capitalism in the constitution and made it do.
Oda put late stage. Okay. You brought up monarchies. Okay? You brought up monarchies. And you want to talk about fucking late stage capitalism. I have not seen a video this retarded in a long time. You know what? You know what? Daxinar. I apologize, man. I apologize. I'm sorry. I gave you a bit of grief earlier. I gave you a bit of guff for that comics versus manga video. And now I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling bad because while you subjected me to that, and while that was painful, I'm subjecting you to this. My uppins have come.
Flips while setting the whole system on fire. And don't get me started on Dressrosa. Their arc is a manifesto in disguise. It's an arc about the manipulation of memory, about a dictator who controls not just the people's reality, but their the ability to even remember what freedom felt like. Sugar turns adults into toys, erases them from the minds of everyone they love, and forces them into servitude. That's not just plot. That's pure just commentary. That's generational trauma. That's political propaganda and forced labor wearing a candy-themed trench coat. And you're telling me
What the fuck are you talking about? That's just generational trauma. Dude. Again, and I stress this point. Oda is Japanese. Oda is he is not a fucking communist. If he did, he'd be one of the worst goddamn communists of all time. Because he is the 7th best-selling author of all time. Right behind J.K. Rowling. We literally covered this in a video like 3 days ago. You do not get to be a multi-millionaire, which Oda is, with a goddamn Netflix adaptation, the symbol of streaming capitalism, that he is a direct contributor to, and also be a fucking communist. He is Japanese. The Japanese don't give a fuck about your ideas of black generational trauma. Frankly, the Japs would probably add to it because they don't like you darkies. Statistically speaking. What are you talking about?
it's just pirate fun. Then there's the press. Morgan's? One Piece has its own corrupt media system. Big news is more interested in juicy headlines than the truth, twisting narratives that benefit whoever pays or just cause more chaos. It's TMZ meets Fox News meets a literal bird with a tie.
Alright, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that Fox News is like an honest outlet or anything like that. Obviously, Fox News are just fucking controlled opposition. They're disingenuous, they're liars. But to say that it's Fox News and discount MSNBC and CNN and the Young Turks, you are, at the beginning of the video, he talked about, oh, people don't want to see One Piece as political or so wrapped up in their own bubble. Homie, you are in such a fucking bubble, they made a movie about you in 2003. I think Bubble Boy came out in 2003. Whenever Bubble Boy came out.
Every time the government censors something or flips a story to make pirates like terrorists, it's another jab at how media is used not to inform but to control. And yet again, people act like this isn't political. You want your freedom sanitized, shrink wrap, and shrink all contents? Go read a cereal box. That's what. Go read a cereal box. If you want that, that's what you want. And now we come to Egghead.
Damn
and
it.
yes, even the science arc is a political banger. Vegapunk isn't just some kooky genius. He's the moral dilemma of technological progress personified. He creates robots that could free people, then watches them get weaponized by a regime that doesn't care about innovation unless it can be used to crush dissent.
Correct! Which again is another human story, another human truth. Oh, AJ, you missed it. You missed the Lion King talk, bro. Not even joking, you missed the Lion King talk.
His mind is fragmented because the system demanded obedience more than balance. Egghead is Oda's versions of, what if enlightenment got corporatized and immediately used for war? You really think this is about lasers? You think this is about lasers? Let's also talk about the criminal underclass. One Piece never makes the mistake of saying crime is just evil. It explores why people become pirates. Poverty, oppression, isolation. Nami was stealing to free her.
Dude, there are many a pirate in One Piece that are evil for the sake of being evil. They're just fucking bad guys. It's that simple. There are plenty. Now, are there pirates that do have these deep, extravagant backstories? They were once good people and have been forced into a life of piracy? Yeah, obviously, yes, that happens. There's also pirates that are just fucking evil. Why? Because that's how you do multifaceted characters, and doesn't have to do, like that's just general character writing. That's how good writers write.
Village. Robin was branded a criminal for learning to read.
2001. Thank you,
Frankie
Jeremy.
was building weapons because the system gave him no other path. And Sanji, he was thrown away for being weak. They aren't just edgy backstories. These are reflections about society.
Daxnor is fucking correct. The first episode of One Piece opens with an evil bitch that Luffy punches into the ocean. She didn't have some deep, intricate backstory of how she was forced into pirates because of the evils of corporate America. She was a fucking bad guy. She was just a fat bitch that was bad.
Fails people, then punishes them for surviving. You ever notice how the Marines aren't the heroes? They're not portrayed as righteous. They're shown as divided, morally bankrupt, and built on a foundation of justice. Every one of your favorite Marines has a certain kind of justice. That's what it is. Akainu is just...
Yes, the Marines are the antagonists. Duh. Because governments are the bad guys. And let me tell you, there's been way more, communist or fascist dictatorships than there have been, free capitalist countries when you look at the history of the world.
This means preemptive murder. Kizaru means apathy. Fujitora, he's trying, but he's still kneeling under a system he can't dismantle. He's just trying. The Navy isn't a force of order, it's a mechanism of violence that rewards obedience and silences empathy. And that, my friend, is as political as it gets. And the greatest irony, One Piece doesn't preach. It doesn't lecture. It shows. It shows you. Unless the joy...
Bro, we know. We know this hood ninja fucking loves Disney Star Wars. We know for a fact this hood ninja watches Disney Star Wars.
Pain, rebellion, and resistance bleed through characters until you feel it in your gut. That's what makes it brilliant. That's why it endures. It trusts you, as a reader, to get it. And if you don't, and not because it wasn't there, it's because you were too busy looking for the treasure. What actually is One Piece? Gold Roger? Gold... What did that mean? The real gold, the real treasure was the commentary smuggled in between the chaos. So next...
No! Oda himself has said... Okay, all right, hold on. We gotta talk about this. This is one of my... All right. Oda was asked in an interview, 2 years ago. It was really recent, honestly. Oda was asked in an interview that at the end of One Piece, will there be a treasure, or will the real treasure be, the friends we found along the way? Will the real treasure be the journey? And Oda's like, no, I hate that shit. There will be a treasure. There is a real treasure. Now, as to what the treasure is going to be, who knows? My theory is that the treasure is going to be the birthplace of devil fruits. I think that the treasure is going to be the tree that sprouts the devil fruits. So it's not going to be an actual, gold and jewels. But that is still treasure. He has said himself, there is a treasure at the end. They are after an actual treasure. Fucking Oda said that.
Next time someone tells you One Piece isn't political, smile gently, then ask them how they feel about burning down a celestial monarchy, freeing slaves, dismantling a corrupt world order, and rewriting history with the power of friendship and unchecked gomu gomu gum gum powers. If that's not political, then nothing is political.
Correct. Nothing is. Actually said... You don't realize he said something correct, but yes. None of this shit's political. It is human stories that exist, that have existed, that will always exist, as long as we're allowed to write them, read them, and be entertained by them, about the human condition, which transcends politics.
It's just ridiculous. Just stupid.
Nah. Fuck all that noise. Fuck all that noise. All right. We got a bit more. But I need to piss again, so I'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, crew. Filthy Casuals is fucking right, Watcher X. Filthy Casuals is right. Okay. Alright, I don't know how many of y'all are going to be interested in this next video, but this is for me. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had time. I'm too busy streaming. I'm too busy making videos the whole nine. I haven't gotten to watch this yet. So this is from me. We got another about hour and a half before we raid into Gooch. How I feel about Magic the Gathering's Marvel's Spider-Man expansion set. Now, I'll be real, guys. I'll be real. I'm a huge... I'm an MTG guy. I got my start as a fucking Magic the Gathering and D&D channel. I got my start as a Magic the Gathering and D&D channel, and I've not gotten to cover Magic in a long time, because frankly, those videos don't do super well. But it's about goddamn time I get to talk about something Magic the Gathering related, and we're going to do it. And then we're going to go on to some of the other stuff you guys have recommended.
Hi. I don't like Spider-Man, and I want to talk about it. Now,
I do really hope he's just talking about the Spider-Man set and not Spider-Man as a whole.
now that preview season has ended, and we have seen the entirety of new cards that will be a part of Magic the Gathering for the rest of time, not just in Standard for the next several years, but a part of the game, the game's history, the game's DNA, well, forever. And of course, this is just the first Marvel set we're getting in Magic the Gathering. There will be more after this one, many more. But right now, I just want to talk about this one. I want to talk about Spider-Man. And
completely unrelated. Hold on. Play, bitch.
I just want to talk about this one. I want to talk about...
I hate this logo for Spider-Man, dude. I do. I hate this logo for Spider-Man. Spider-Man had so many dope-ass logos over the years. I fucking hate this logo for Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. And specifically why this set just deflates me. I'm not even angry. I'm just, I don't know, kind of numb. And let me be clear that this is not a video about universes beyond.
It should be. This shouldn't just be about Spider-Man. Okay, real quick, for those of you guys that don't know what Universes Beyond is, I'll quick rundown. Magic the Gathering used to only be Magic the Gathering. All characters, all cards, everything was all original. And then they started slowly doing crossovers with other IPs. And the crossovers were called Universes Beyond because they're from characters that are IPs that aren't Magic. And at first it started with a one-off little Walking Dead thing. It was just a few cards. It was no big deal. I thought it was weird. I didn't like it, but whatever. Then they got more and more blatant. And Godzilla. Again, I'm a Godzilla fan. All right. I can see it. Giant monsters exist within Magic the Gathering. It makes sense that the monsters be there. Plus, the Godzilla cards were already real existing cards that they just swapped the names and art for. Everything else was the exact, the way they played, everything was the exact same. Then they started going bonkers with it. Dungeons and Dragons, Final Fantasy, Doctor Who, Warhammer 40K. It's insane. It dilutes what Magic the Gathering is. So yes, this should be a commentary on crossovers in general, Universes Beyond. I hate it. Magic the Gathering is just now Fortnite, the card game.
Really. It's a video specifically about the Spider-Man set. There have now been countless Universes Beyond sets. Universes Beyond for Warhammer and
Hate it.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Even, dude, I almost broke my moral code and not buy Magic the Gathering products with this Sonic shit. I almost did. But I didn't. Now I might buy these cards used. So I'm not giving them money to have them for my collection. For my Sonic collection and my Magic collection. But I'm not buying any sort of sealed product. No.
Stranger Things and Doctor Who. And of course...
Look at this. Does this fucking look like Magic the goddamn Gathering to you? What the fuck is this?
Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy. And while overall, yes, if it were up to me personally, I'd not have brought outside IP into Magic the Gathering.
Correct. There should not have been outside IP. The only one I could say is kind of okay was Dungeons and Dragons. Because they are both owned by the same company. They are both and by the way, I hate Wizards of the Coast. I do. I hate Wizards of the Coast. Neither Magic nor D&D were originally owned by WotC. However, since they are owned by the same company, and it wasn't tournament legal, by the way, it wasn't tournament legal, I was alright with the D&D one, in theory.
I nonetheless long ago did accept that this is now a part of the game. And aside from the occasional grimace and gripe, I've still continued to play and enjoy this game that I love so much. Hell, I am likely going to name Final Fantasy, a Universes Beyond set, one of the best sets of the year, if not the best set of the year. And I absolutely, enthusiastically am saying to you now, Final Fantasy was a home run. And it's not a personal preference thing. This is not, oh, well, I just don't like Spider-Man, so now I don't like this new set. Yeah, it's true. I'm not the biggest comic book guy there is. I just never...
Alright, well, I am a huge Spider-Man fan. He is my favorite superhero of all time, and I do fucking hate this.
Really got into Marvel and DC and all that, and I know next to nothing about Spider-Man. But I also never got into Warhammer 40k. In fact, I kind of always viewed Warhammer...
They Fortnited Magic the Gathering. Are there MTG Universe stories like Halo? No. So, the way it works with the lore... So Magic has always had alternate universes. They were called planes. You've got different planes of existence. And all these Magic sets took place across these different planes of existence. And the way the Magic works, you are a wizard. Your deck is your spell book. And you are fighting another wizard who has his spell book. And all these creatures you're summoning or whatnot are you summoning these creatures from different planes of existence to fight in the battle you're having right there. That's the lore of why you are playing Magic the Gathering. So, when you've got these Universes Beyond sets, there's no real Magic the Gathering lore to these crossovers. It's just the lore from whatever existing thing. You're just now able to pull from other IPs. It's retarded.
Warhammer is a world that was not my jam, but I considered the Warhammer Commander decks some of the best Commander decks ever made. And so there's a property you could say I actively did not like, and yet I enjoyed the Magic the Gathering cards.
And to his credit, the Warhammer 40k decks, the pre-built decks, were objectively well-made pre-built decks. Why couldn't you do this just with Magic IP instead of pulling for something else?
And Commander decks, and I gave it all an enthusiastic A, and then moved on to the next 100 Magic sets that were about to be released. But Spider-Man? Something's off here. Something is not quite right, and I want to try to articulate that for all of you because, well, a lot of people are curious about my thoughts, so this is me sharing them. As always, you do not have to agree. I just want to explain where I'm coming from when I say that this set, it kind of crushes my soul.
Blah 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 blah.
Before I even get to my issues with Spider-Man, I want to say that yes, I will still be making many of my usual videos about the set, because my not liking the set doesn't mean I can't look at whether or not it's worth it to buy financially, or discuss those card designs that I think are really interesting.
Fun fact, it is never worth it to buy financially. For those of you that do play or thinking about playing or whatnot, never buy new sealed product. Always buy individual single cards from your local store.
For Commander, or Standard, or any of my usual slate of topics that I cover for each and every new set that comes out. I want to help people with a pre-release guide, because pre-releases still rock, and if you're going, I want to do what I can to help you have a great experience. I am capable of saying I don't like something, but still exploring the positives that exist in that thing. So
Which is fair.
please
That
do
is
me a
fair.
favor and spare me the, what? I thought you didn't like Spider-Man, you hypocrite. Why are you telling me Spider-Manifestation and City
Correct,
Pigeon
Hayden.
might see
Correct.
Popper play? Look, this isn't some social injustice that needs protesting. It's Magic's Spider-Man set, okay? And also, I know many of you are very excited about this set, and that's okay. In fact, it's great if you're—
No, it's not. Here's the dealio. This is how you could tell fucking fake modern Magic fans from old school ones. I do not know. And maybe there's a handful of them, but they're retarded. I don't know any long-time Magic the Gathering fan that is okay with the dilution of the brand to this degree. Like, if you are excited for this, odds are you got into Magic recently and you have no idea about the history of the game. It's like basically Disney Star Wars fans that didn't give a fuck about Star Wars till Disney bought it. They just aren't real fans.
eager to play with your favorite Spider-Man characters in your Magic the Gathering decks. I am in no way critical of that perspective. I have no interest in yucking anyone's yum. That being said, I have thought about it a lot, and I have come to realize that I cannot bring myself to analyze these cards in terms of their design, nor craft that pre-release guide, nor even just crack a box and chat casually while I open packs without first discussing why I feel this set is worse than other Universes Beyond sets that have come before it. One key difference is that Lord of the Rings, for example, and Doctor Who, Warhammer, and most recently Final Fantasy have been successful implementations of the vision of Universes Beyond, and I strongly feel that Spider-Man is not a success.
I completely disagree. Like, aside, now, to be fair, Lord of the Rings, maybe. Lord of the Rings and Warhammer, maybe. I fucking hate those sets, but maybe. These two, Final Fantasy and Doctor Who, no, not at all.
Successful implementation of that vision.
Person 11, right now we were talking about the Spider-Man crossover with Magic the Gathering.
What do I mean by that? Well, in my opinion, the goal of Universes Beyond just bringing new players into the game and making money, of course, is to seamlessly translate an outside...
And that's what it is. It's to bring new players in to make money. We don't even need your other explanation. Universes Beyond exists because real Magic fans, real Magic players left. We stopped playing, or we didn't stop, we stopped buying your filthy ass product because you destroyed the brand. Because, and I shit you not, and this isn't the sole reason, by the way, this is not the sole reason, but this is one of the reasons. Wizards of the Coast is the wokest company in existence. They eclipse Disney by far. So you have that dilution of the brand. Then you have power creep. Then you have the fact that you used to get about 3 main sets a year. Now you get 3 a month. It's impossible to keep up with. The prices keep going up. The prices keep going up because they need to compensate for the fact that more people weren't buying the new shit because A, they couldn't keep up with it because there was so much, or B, they turned the back on it for ideological reasons, or C, both, which is the camp I'm in. Like, they needed to basically do these crossovers to bring in new customers because all the old heads fucking bounced. Like me. You want to know why my channel is called Words of Paradise? It's because there's a fucking Magic card from 1993 called Birds of Paradise. Simple. My fucking whole channel is just a play on the goddamn Magic card. And yet people like me, the old school fans, are out. We're done. We don't give a shit. Now, obviously, I do still play with my friends and whatnot. I still occasionally even go to tournaments. But I don't buy a sealed product.
Property into the game of Magic the Gathering. It is an exercise in storytelling through game design. That's what every Magic set is about. But Universes Beyond creates an additional constraint in that you're working with characters and settings and story beats that have already been established long before the card design process began. In the case of crossovers with other games, there are even prior mechanics designed for an entirely different game system from Magic. For all my critiques of Universes Beyond from a personal taste standpoint, Universes Beyond sets like Warhammer.
All right, guys, one second. I'm gonna have to let the cat out. He's fucking my computer stuff too much. Hey, come here. Valkyrie. Come here. Valkyrie, where are you at? Come here. Yep, come here. Just unplug my TV. You gotta go, buddy. Sorry, guys. Love Valkyrie. Love Valkyrie to death, but he be unplugging my fucking TVs and shit, and I lost chat for a sec, so, yeah, can't be having that. Sorry, Valkyrie.
Lord of the Rings, Final Fantasy, these are triumphs of crossover game design. These products, whether they be commander decks or fully fledged expansion sets, have shown how capable the game system of Magic the Gathering is of accommodating a wide range of outside IP, and that it can do so in ways that honor the lore of the outside universe while still feeling like Magic the Gathering in their own ways. I was highly complimentary of these products when they were released, and on a personal level,
by the way,
while I still would...
It's one of the reasons I stopped watching too long. I love the professor. He's a sweetheart. He's a nice guy. He's on the wrong side of the political spectrum and does way too much fucking, hearing people's preferred pronouns and shit. But at the end of the day, when it comes to learning about Magic and getting invested in it, and this is a great channel for that. But I mostly stopped watching him when he started being A-OK with Universes Beyond.
Prefer Magic had remained its own thing without outside IP, I was heartened by the knowledge that the most successful implementations of Universes Beyond resulted in great new...
Yes, you did see Mr. House prawn it out. There was a Fallout collaboration with Magic the Gathering last year.
Game pieces that appealed to both fans of the outside IP and established Magic players alike. There have been some duds among the bunch too, don't get me wrong. Assassin's Creed, for instance, felt ham-fisted, rushed, and incoherent. The set was tiny, 100 cards in total, doled out in 7-card Beyond booster packs, and its flavor not particularly engaging to players who weren't already fans of the Assassin's Creed games. And even to those who were, it was pretty dubious. In fact, when I look at Spider-Man, I immediately think of that Assassin's Creed set, because it too felt like a botched Magic set. Though unlike Spider-Man, it didn't feel quite as...
See Assassin's Creed 9? I actually know a couple people that quit for that exact reason. Yeah, there was a Godzilla card that was titled Godzilla Death Corona, or Death Corona Godzilla, something like that. And the card got banned because it came out right at the beginning of COVID. And the card got fucking banned because it offended people. Fucking hacks.
Much of a failure at implementing the Universes Beyond vision. The designs, the flavor, the mechanics, they weren't spectacular, but they were okay. The cards felt like Assassin's Creed cards, and most looked fine alongside in-universe Magic cards. Some look jarring, yes, Leonardo da Vinci for instance, but most of the cards look about how you'd expect a Magic plane full of assassins to look, give or take. I feel the same is not true for Spider-Man. Honestly, I don't think this set feels like either a Magic set or a Spider-Man set. It certainly doesn't feel like a Magic.
What did they do to my girl? This is horrendous. What? This is supposed to be Gwen. Oh, you guys can see because it's cutting off. This is supposed to be Gwen Stacy. This is supposed to be fucking Gwen Stacy. When Gwen Stacy enters, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control this creature. That doesn't even... That's not even on flavor with... That mechanic isn't even on flavor with what Gwen is. What are we talking about?
Magic the Gathering set. Cell phones and film cameras and laptops, taxi cabs and hot dog carts and electric guitars. Hey, look, it's a bagel and a schmear you can nosh. These are just day-to-day items. They are not fantasy items. They do not feel like fantasy items. All the anachronisms I found immersion breaking in Duskmorn, in
Grindel
Thunder
Stacy,
Junction,
yeah.
in Murders at Karlov
That's
Manor.
what I said, CFH90. It is the fucking Fortnite of trading card games.
All the 1980s Americana and cowboy boots and detective hats, all that has been dialed up to 11 in this set that takes place in the mythical land known as New York City. Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, and yes, even Assassin's Creed, most of the cards from these sets didn't look out of place alongside the fantasy universe of Magic the Gathering. The franchises that did stretch this criteria, like Doctor Who and Fallout, were relegated to Commander products, meaning they were only relevant to players who wanted to opt in. They were also self-contained Commander decks rather than complete expansion sets designed to integrate into an existing constructed metagame. You could make a fair argument that in-universe Magic sets were already headed down this path with the aforementioned anachronistic sets, and I'd agree with you. It's not a huge leap to get from cheerleaders and baseball bats to the Isle of Manhattan. But I'm not claiming that Spider-Man swung in out of nowhere. Part of what I find so depressing about this set is that we didn't have to take much of a leap to get to it. Just think about some of the cards we've had in our in-universe Magic the Gathering set.
And so, basically what he's saying here, for those of you that don't know, and for those of you that care, I mean, a lot of y'all dropped off. We dropped like 20 viewers, but I don't give a fuck. Again, this is from me. Magic as a fantasy IP has been delving into other genres for a while now, and it's getting a bit excessive. They've gone down steampunk routes, they've gone down sci-fi routes, they've gone down, but it's always still pretty much worked with the fantasy aesthetic because we're dealing with different planes of existence. But there is a thing when it goes too far and the identity is gone.
I truly believe that these cards are a part of in-universe Magic the Gathering sets, so as to allow a set like Spider-Man to have cards like these, so that it doesn't feel as jarring. And so this is what Magic the Gathering has become. Universes Beyond has infected the universes within to the point where they aren't that far off from the most egregious examples of the universes beyond. But despite all that, I could maybe set aside my feelings about Spider-Man and Magic if the set was a coherent and cohesive translation of Spider-Man, but I don't feel like it's that either. Why are there this many Spider-Men in the set?
Hold on, let's roll back. What is... Alright, Amazing Spider-Man. So this was probably the key Spider-Man card, right? Vigilance and Reach. Alright, those work. Each legendary spell you cast that's one or more colors has web slinging. You may cast spells, web slinging cost if you also return a tap creature to... Yeah, I don't really feel like that is...
Why are there this many Spider-Men in the set? Yes, I know the Spider-Man Noirs and Spider Dinos and Peter Porkers are pulled directly from the comics and movies and what have you. I know they didn't just make them up to stuff them in the set, but just because these characters exist doesn't mean it's a good idea to include them in such a small set. Why does every random iteration of Spider-Man from across the Marvel multiverse have to show up in this set? If you're not familiar with the source material, it's incredibly confusing to keep track of all these different variations of Spider-Man. And even if you are a Spider-Man fan, is it really better to get a pile of different variants rather than to tell a story that follows one or at most just a few Spider-Men? Sure, it makes sense to include
Whoa, okay, this Gwen Stacy art looks way better. Yo, this is the same card, it's just an alternate art version of it. This Gwen Stacy looks way better than that other one.
Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen alongside Peter Parker. Thanks to the recent Spider-Man movies, these are the most recognizable forms of the spider hero. Heck, they're the ones that even I recognize and know because I went to go see those movies with my kid. So yes, I can see the reason to include them and maybe a few of the more obscure but fan favorite Spider-Man variants. But do we really need this many? Spiders-Man and
Yeah, these Spider-Man that's just made out of spiders, masked meower. Dude, who the even as a Spider-Man fan, I don't care about this.
Spider-Cat and Spider-UK? And again, like Assassin's Creed, this really is a small set. 180-something cards is incredibly small for a standard set. And about what? Is this like an eighth of them are Spider-Man variants? Even for people who love Spider-Man, does it not dilute the excitement of a Spider-Man card to have all of these other Spider-Men cards? Trying to tackle a multiverse-spanning storyline in just 180 cards seems like biting off way more than such a small set can chew. There's no discernible story here. It's just, here's every Spider-Man ever and every Spider-Man villain ever.
But that's what all of Universes Beyond is. That's the thing. Yes, this is a bigger issue with Spider-Man. 100%. This is a bigger issue with Spider-Man. I'm not saying it isn't. But this is what Universes Beyond invited by existing. You were eventually, by accepting Universes Beyond as a concept, this is where it all eventually led to. This was fucking inevitable the moment you allowed outside IP to even come into Magic the Gathering.
Stitched together with a few side characters and a handful of disjointed story beats. Granted, a lot of these crossover IPs have attempted to put the entirety of the Outside Universe's lore into their set as well. All 16 Final Fantasy games were depicted in Final Fantasy, for example. Doctor Who had every single Doctor and every single companion. But I would argue that those are not the same thing as what I'm seeing in Spider-Man. Each Doctor from Doctor Who was once the primary protagonist of the show. Each Final Fantasy game is of roughly the same importance as one another, and part of a linear set, the main set. In the Spider-Man lore, on the other hand, all these spin-off Spider-Men are zany gimmicks, intended to demonstrate the vast multiverse of possible Spidey iterations. Essentially, the majority of these Spider-Man variants were intended as jokes, but in a set as small as this
he's
one,
entirely
their
correct.
presence being on what, an eighth of the overall cards? It's incredibly distracting.
So an entire eighth of this set is just a fucking meme. Like, an entire eighth of this set is a fucking meme.
It feels like the set does not take itself seriously. The flavor of many of these alternate universe Spider-Men doesn't exactly justify their inclusion either. Why does Spider UK draw a card on your end step if...
Alright, web slinging, you may cast a spell for 2 and a white if you also return type creature. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield under your control this turn, draw... Yeah. Okay, so the way Magic is supposed to work, whatever the card does is supposed to represent that character or represent that monster. How does, at the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield under your control this turn, you may draw a card and gain 2 life? How does that do anything? Like, what does that have to do with the character of Spider UK?
2 creatures enter? I don't know. Does that represent the character? Why does the masked meower sacrifice itself to rummage away a card? Why does Spider-Man, Brooklyn Visionary, tutor for a basic land? Now, I will acknowledge there are some brilliant designs in this set too. Don't get me wrong. Spider-Punk granting Spider's Riot is awesome. Giving the Sarah Avenger turn restriction to the futuristic 2099 Spider-Man is great. I think this is a cool card.
Can't cast a spell during your first, second, and third turns of the game. You can't cast Spider-Man 29. Okay. Alright, that one works. I'll agree. That one does work. Spider-Man 29 is from the future. So putting a limit on when you can cast him, you can't cast him until at least turn 4. That's pretty good. I'll give it that.
And I think it's the kind of storytelling through design that Universes Beyond does so well. But they make the many, many examples of much less coherent designs look all the worse by comparison. And speaking of comparisons, I've compared this set to Assassin's Creed a few times thus far, and I think that comparison is extremely apt. From a vibes standpoint, Spider-Man just feels similar to Assassin's Creed. They both feel muddy, clunky, and incoherent. They both don't give the material any room to breathe. Minor characters and obscure story beats clutter the small set list. Even many of the designs feel similar. The pile of Spider-Men in Spider-Man is reminiscent of the pile of assassins in Assassin's Creed. Web slinging has a similar feel to the free-running mechanic in Assassin's Creed, and both sets even have primary characters that grant the ability to other characters. And both sets have sagas depicting lore and equipment that turn creatures into the face creature type of the set. It almost feels like they're following a template here. Most directly, both sets are smaller than a usual set. There were about 100 cards in Assassin's Creed, and there's about 180 cards in Marvel's Spider-Man. And there used to be even fewer cards in Spider-Man. Mark Rosewater has confirmed as much himself. Personally, I think there's a good chance Spider-Man
Dude, Mark Bongwater needs to quit fucking... He needs to step down. He needs to leave. Mark Bongwater is one of the worst things that ever happened to Wizards of the Coast.
Supposed to be another Beyond Booster mini set, just like Assassin's Creed was. I wouldn't be surprised if they initially designed the set as another straight-to-modern product that was never intended for standard. Remember, Lorwyn was supposed to come out this year, but it got bumped to next year to make room for a Universes Beyond set. I'm not so sure the set it got bumped for was Avatar. Maybe it got bumped so that Spider-Man,
They're doing an
which was
Avatar set as well. Is there a single IP that's sacred? No, his last name is Rosewater, but I call him Bongwater. Is there... name me an IP I guarantee you would eventually come to Magic the Gathering. Like, Avatar The Last Airbender, are we fucking serious? They're doing... I didn't even know they were doing an Avatar set. This shit's gay as fuck.
Originally intended to be a mini booster
Agreed,
set like
Subhuman.
Assassin's Creed could get turned into an emergency standard set. It would track, given Wizards' timeline from production to release. By the time Assassin's Creed came out and maybe wasn't received so well, Spider-Man...
Nah, but Obi Dean, here's the thing. They have child-friendly, like, starter decks, like, how to play things. Now, obviously, the art and all that is still incredibly gruesome and Magic the Gathering oriented, but they do have, like, newbie sets aimed at younger individuals. I bet Paw Patrol's not off the table. They did a crossover with Hello Kitty. They did a crossover with SpongeBob. Paw Patrol, honestly, not off the fucking table.
Which could have already been intended to be an Assassin's Creed-like set, was already in production, contracts already signed, so what can we do?
I almost made a reference to Bluey.
Maybe
when I was
that's
talking
also
about Paw
why we
Patrol
got so many
CFH.
esoteric Spider-Man variants. Maybe they were scrambling to add another 20, 30, 40 cards to the set, and needed to just desperately pull in whatever characters they could think of.
Let's see, what does Kane do? Menace? Alright, Menace does work. When Scarlet Spider enters, you may discard a card. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on him. That kind of works. Mayhem, and cast this card from the graveyard. If you... What? Why? Kane never comes back from the... He's one of the few Spider-Man characters who, when he died, has stayed dead. Why would you give him a revival mechanic? Why would you give a character that has actually stayed dead a return from the dead mechanic? That breaks flavor so many goddamn ways.
That is, of course, all just speculation, and ultimately I could be totally off base, but I had to say it. The broader point is that the set feels just as half-baked as Assassin's Creed did, which is incredibly depressing given that a messy standard set is much more relevant than a messy modern set. You can't ignore a messy standard set like you can ignore a messy modern set. The cards will be powerful enough to see play in standard and likely Pioneer as well. Another thing that I find disheartening about Marvel...
Bro, Pioneer is the main way I play. I don't want to fucking see this shit in Pioneer. If I go do a fucking goddamn Pioneer tournament and then playing Spider-Man cards, I'm breaking them. I'm gonna target the fuck out of these people.
Spider-Man is all the various sacrifices Wizards of the Coast was willing to make to bring Spider-Man into their game, such as not getting the rights to put the real cards on their digital platforms. Now, I'm not going to go on and on about this digital licensing nightmare. I already made a whole video about it, and if you want to hear me talk about that in great...
So you can't even play the Spider-Man cards with the digital version of Magic because Disney won't give them the rights to do so? That's fucking hilarious.
Detail, check out that video here. I'll link it in this video's description. Suffice it to say that the added confusion of there being two versions of every card is just confounded by the fact that I probably would have preferred these now digital-only versions to be the real thing because at least they're more at home in a Magic set than Peter Porker is, or a Subway car, or whatever. But even beyond that, the licensing nightmare hurts because it is indicative of what Wizards of the Coast was willing to sacrifice in order to make this Marvel set happen. They were willing to give up the rights to their own game online anyway. They were willing to commission alternate art and names for every trademarked property in the set, and were willing to suffer the consequences of any and all confusion these alternates cause. They were also willing to make the set too small to be drafted in the traditional way, and even had to come up with a new 4-player variation on draft in order to accommodate this. The upcoming Pro Tour in Atlanta, which is scheduled for the weekend of Spider-Man's release, will not feature Spider-Man as the draft set. That's because
So the pro event, the professional players event, comes out the same weekend as Spider-Man, and they're not even having the Spider-Man event be the headlining event. What the fuck? Dude, WotC is so broken. Magic is so broken. This is insane.
because Spider-Man wasn't really designed as a set you can draft. So instead, when this set releases, they're sticking with Edge of Eternity's draft. And hey, I love Edge of Eternity's and Edge of Eternity's draft, but this decision is really no.
Agreed, C.D. Stein.
Trust me when
Agreed.
I say that it is literally unheard of for a Pro Tour to feature a 2-month-old draft set over the brand new set that drops the day of the tournament. Spider-Man cards will be legal to play with in Standard at the next Pro Tour, but the set will not be the set that players draft. You know, whenever people raise complaints about Universes Beyond sets like Spider-Man, the response from those who like the crossover properties is often some variation on the phrase, let people enjoy things. There's this prevailing...
Correct! Let people enjoy things. So let Magic the Gathering fans fucking enjoy Magic the Gathering. Because guess what? We didn't need this. We didn't ask for this. None of us were like, I really like Magic the Gathering. I've been buying all these cards for years. I've been buying the booster packs. I've been building the decks. I've been going to the tournaments. I've been going to Friday Night Magic and drafting. But you know what? You want to know what Magic really needs? Fucking Transformers. Fucking The Walking Dead. Goddamn Stranger Things. Yeah, so why don't you let people enjoy things? Let Magic fans fucking enjoy Magic. Because there's nothing goddamn magical about Fallout. You know how much I love Fallout. I'm a huge Fallout fan. Fucking love Fallout. One of my favorite game franchises of all time. But I don't fucking need Fallout in my Magic the fucking Gathering.
Sentiment that it's okay to be excited about Universes Beyond, that we should be allowed to like the Spider-Man set. But to that, I've always said, yeah, you should. In fact, the truth is even better. It's not just that you should be allowed to like the Spider-Man set. You are allowed to like the Spider-Man set. If you like the set, great news! You're getting the set. You're getting the set you want, and you get to enjoy it for as long as you'd like. Liking the Spider-Man Magic the Gathering set is the default response. It's the attitude that is specifically being catered to by the company that makes Magic the Gathering. What is frustrating, therefore, is when people push back so hard on the other people, the people who...
CFH90. Here's the bummer about that. The Final Fantasy set got some good goddamn cards, dude. Got some fucking powerhouse cards. Dude, I got a homie. He's got a dope deck. And it was a deck that I didn't think you could really even do more with. I was like, you maxed the bitch out. How do you make a more powerful deck? And he was able to do it with some of the Final Fantasy cards. He was like, even if it's just 1 or 2% better, these Final Fantasy cards made it 1 or 2% better. Like, they're awesome. Why do they need to be Final Fantasy? Why did you need a Buster Sword card? Why not just create an original Magic the Gathering card that does the shit that the Buster Sword card does? It's fucking bananas.
don't like the set, the people who voice their criticisms of
Speaking
this
of bananas,
set in particular,
subscribe to Kata.
and yeah, of the effect Universes Beyond has had on Magic as a whole. So yes, of course, it is okay for you to be excited about Spider-Man, and if you are, I genuinely am happy for you, but I need to say this, it's also okay for me to not be excited about Spider-Man. This set is the antithesis of everything I love about Magic, and it is incredibly depressing that it will be an inescapable part of the game for the rest of time. And
but again, you let this happen. I gotta call the professor out. I like the professor. He's a nice guy. He might be the best Magic the Gathering content creator on YouTube. But you let this happen. By not using your fucking voice, your influence, your audience, by saying, well, this is where Magic is, so let's go ahead and talk about it. It's inescapable. No! If you don't like the Spider-Man set, too bad. You let this happen. Or not obviously not personally, but we're in part let it happen. By not saying shit about all the other Universes Beyond stuff. By being okay with Lord of the Rings. And being okay with Stranger Things. And Doctor Who. And Fallout. And Warhammer 40k. It's like, well, I'm not a Warhammer 40k fan, but these cards are really good cards. I get it. There are really good fucking cards in these Universes Beyond sets. I'm not fucking blind to it. But to allow... And you know what? It would be fine. It would be fine if this shit wasn't tournament legal. I didn't have near as big an issue until they made it tournament legal. I believe it was the Lord of the Rings set. Because before the Lord of the Rings stuff, this shit was only for Commander and how it was Commanders. There's no such thing as a Commander tournament style. Commander is not a tournament legal format. Or for what I call gentleman's Magic or kitchen table Magic. When you're just hanging out with your buddies and you're playing Magic, no standardized sets or anything like that. All right, that's fine. If you want to have this crossover, I still don't like it. I still don't want crossovers in Magic. But at least it wasn't tournament legal. So it wasn't affecting the actual metagame. It wasn't affecting the standardized way that we build and prep and draft. Making this Universes Beyond IP shit tournament legal? Fuck that. I have not been to a Magic the Gathering tournament since then. I've not been to a Magic the Gathering tournament since SNH was probably somewhere in like the 30s episode mark, somewhere in the 30s or 40s. Like to give you guys an idea of how long it's been. We're like what? How many episodes into Saturday Night Hypnosis are we? Like the 150s, something like that. I've not been to a Magic the Gathering tournament since we were in the 30s or 40s episode range of Saturday Night Hypnosis. It's a fucking travesty.
that's it. That's how I feel. And I hate that my not liking this set is going to result in people calling me a hater or a whiner. At best, I'm going to be called an old man who yells at clouds. And at worst, an outrage farmer just inventing things to be upset about for clicks. But I'm not. I'm just being honest.
Well, the kid gloves thing, Dax, and I'm not, this isn't defending him. I don't think you're familiar with this content, which is fine. Like, I agree with you to an extent that, like, he is very soft-spoken with kid gloves. His whole channel is basically, I'm the Magic the Gathering channel for newbies. I'm here to help guide you into the game. I'm here to teach you how to play. I'm here to tell you what products are worth buying, which ones aren't. And so his whole, like, soft-spoken demeanor and whatnot is the appeal to his channel. He is supposed to be, like, I mean, he's called the professor. He's an ex-university teacher, professor who now does Magic the Gathering full time and does Leon full time. So the point is, at this point, it's just part of his brand. Now, I agree with you that I don't like it. I think that he should be far more animated and pissed off and say shit with his chest. But I also know that he has a brand to do this stuff with. So yeah, it does make sense, unfortunately.
Strive for honesty on this channel. Always. And if I am being 100% honest here, I'm not even upset about Spider-Man. I'm just really whatever about it. But that's just me. What do you think about Marvel's Spider-Man Magic the Gathering set? Are you excited for it? Are there things you wish were different about the set? Do you disagree with any or all of the points that...
They already have CD Sign. I don't know if it's released yet, but they did a crossover with Transformers. Or at least they had a planned one. So yeah, they moved into the 80s Mattel characters line because of Transformers. I don't know if Transformers was Mattel or Hasbro or whatnot. I think, never mind, Transformers is Hasbro. But you get the point.
That I laid out in this video. Let me know in the comments below. Truly, I want to hear what you think. And I do hope that what I think has not yucked your yum. There is still so much about Magic that I love and that I enjoy, and if you'd like to spend a bit more time with me enjoying this game, hey, give a watch to the newest episode of Shuffle Up and Play, where I sit down to play Commander with Bosco, Irene the Alien, and Joey of EDH Rec. I even have a Universes Beyond card as my commander.
Oh, that was it was a good video at the end of the day. Like, it pains me. It upsets me. There's issues with the videos, certain things I don't like and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like, that video did serve its purpose. It was fine at what it was trying to do. God damn, I'm so deflated, man. I am so deflated over Magic the Gathering. There's a reason I rarely talk about Magic the Gathering on my channel anymore. It's not just because the videos don't do well, because I've had certain Magic... In fact, my 2 highest viewed shorts of all time were Magic the Gathering shorts. And I've also had some Magic the Gathering videos that did do well enough. But, like, the amount of work I put into the Magic the Gathering videos versus the return on investment wasn't there. Like, hold on. A lot of y'all probably ain't seen, ain't seen some of my older stuff that had to do with Magic the Gathering. So let me show you something. Hold on. Let's go ahead and, like, this is, let's see, where is it? Give me one moment here. This could be a interesting little piece of Leon lore. Hold on. Magic the Gathering. Alright, where is it? Alright, video I did. Come on. No, I know it's here somewhere. Nope, not that one. Yeah, here we go. So, ignore how fucking fat I was. But, like, this is an old video. Trust me, and we're not gonna watch the whole thing. But, like, to show you guys how not worth the effort it is, this is a video where I interviewed Magic players and about the competitive scene, and this is in 2023. It has only gotten worse.
I really think that matters more about that they're pushing so much product, and people are focused on you.
Well, lead into my next question, why don't you?
Man, why is this video stuttering like shit? Point is, I'm going around, I'm interviewing people about the sets. This is me at a tournament.
Dedication long term in the fan base, and I mean you can just tell by Hasbro stocks.
And it's not good. Like, people are not happy about this. Like he was talking about, you can tell about Hasbro stocks. People were not happy about the state of the game, and this is at a tournament in 2023. Why is this video buffering like a motherfucker?
I really think that
Like, if people weren't happy then, why would they be happy now? Is the point I'm getting at. If people weren't happy then, why would they be happy now? You resell your Magic the Gathering. I can't blame you. I can't blame you at all for reselling your Magic the Gathering cards. Now, I still play. I still love the game. But yeah, it's rough, man. It hurts. All right, we got about 30-ish minutes before 40 minutes before we do, before we move over to Gooch's show. Let me see. Out of stuff to react to, so let me take a look and see what's in the recommended feed. Give me one moment here. I'll be back because we got time for at least one more video. I'll be right back. All right, I found something. I found something. No, I wasn't pissing that time. I was looking through my. So I was looking through my. I save all of my my reaction ideas to a different account, and I didn't want to show that account off on screen. All right, let's see. So this one was saved. Here it is.
Dragon Ball has
ranking every Dragon Ball villain plan from genius to garbage. Leon is not in a store. Wait. No, Leon, as in not a store, but buy stuff. A lot of times my profit is a car or oh, okay, nice. I get what you're saying. Alrighty. This will be the last video, and then we'll raid into Gooch. Because Gooch goes live in about 50 minutes. So we'll see. This will probably take us about 40 or so. It's 20 minutes long. So, alrighty. Ranking every Dragon Ball villain's plan from genius to garbage. Let's go. Let's see how right this person is. Or wrong.
Has no shortage of powerful villains, but strength isn't everything. What really sets a villain apart is their plan. Did they have a goal beyond just throwing hands, or did they think things through? Did they actually succeed, or just run around causing chaos until someone stronger showed up? That's what I'm ranking today. From Z tier, the best of the best, all the way down to F tier, where the dumbest plans in the franchise go to rot. And since this is my...
Well, I mean... Kid Buu gonna be in the F tier. Kid Buu absolutely got no plan.
My video, I'm covering the villains in any order I want and only covering their initial appearances with a few exceptions. If you're into breakdowns like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. But before we dive in, let me tell you about a genius plan that you can actually steal for yourself.
Alright, you know the drill.
Surfshark VPN.
We
Just
let
like a
ad
smart
reads
villain
play out.
needs a flawless escape plan, Surfshark lets you instantly change your online location and keep your data hidden, all with one click. With Surfshark, you can mask your location.
And trust me, some of y'all's thoughts on that Persona 5 waifu video, you need to keep your data hidden.
Your personal data and keep your browsing safe from prying eyes, whether it's shady hackers, invasive advertisers, or even your internet provider. Plus, you can unlock content that's normally blocked in your country, which is perfect if you want to watch anime or shows that aren't available on your usual streaming services. It works on unlimited devices,
CFH90
so you can
may be
protect
onto
your
something.
phone,
You may be
tablet,
onto something.
laptop, and even your smart TV, all at the same time. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's zero risk in giving it a try. So power up your online protection now. Go to surfshark.com/JustinsDen or use code.
I'm not slandering him, man, but if this fucking video is based off of their plans, he's ranking them based on their plans. Kid Buu didn't have a plan.
Justin's Den at checkout to get 4 extra months added onto your plan. Stay safe, stay connected, and let's get into the video. Garlic Jr. has one of the rarest feats in all of Dragon Ball. He actually achieved immortality. The man used the Dragon Balls, got his wish, and became unkillable. That's a huge accomplishment, but what does he do with it? He tries to trap Goku and Piccolo in the dead zone and gets tossed into it himself. That's literally his own trap. He does manage to survive thanks to being immortal, but when he returns later for revenge, the same thing happens again. You'd think he'd have a backup plan or at least learn from round 1, but nope. He gets defeated by Gohan and ends up in the dead zone twice. Piccolo even says
he gets defeated by Gohan when Gohan was still a bitch, dude. When Gohan was still a little bitch.
At best, how could someone dumb enough to fall into his own trap take over the world? Exactly. He may have started strong, but Garlic Jr.'s execution was laughable. That's why he lands in D tier.
D tier is fair. I was gonna say D tier myself. So yeah, D tier is absolutely fair.
Man, Raditz had one of the most half-baked plans in the franchise. He shows up.
Whoa. Hold on. Not at all. I'm gonna need to hear this dude's argument. We about to go off.
Out of nowhere, reveals that Goku's an alien and tries to recruit him for space genocide. When that doesn't work, he kidnaps Gohan and gives Goku a 24-hour deadline to kill 100 humans or else. That's not a plan.
Bullshit. No. Raditz had a great plan. All right, the Saiyans needed at least one more Saiyan to be able to take down the planet they were going to take down. Raditz knows Goku's out there in the cosmos somewhere. All right, so he goes, he gets Goku. He doesn't know that Goku's a soft little bitch, right? He does not realize that Goku got his fucking mental rewritten by a crack on the noggin. So his plan to show up and be like, yo, Kakarot, come help us murder some motherfuckers, makes sense, because to him, that's what Saiyans do. Then when he realizes that Goku's a soft beta bitch, he's like, alright, you're a dad. Dads love their kids. I'm gonna force you to do what I want by threatening to murder your son, my nephew. And you're gonna have to listen because I just bodied you and your best friend in 2 hits on this fucking island. That is a good plan. Raditz didn't foresee fucking Piccolo. Alright, that's what it was. Raditz had a good plan.
What did he think was gonna happen? That Goku would say, sure, bro, and go on a killing spree? He didn't even bother.
Yes! People have gone on killing sprees for less. People will do wild shit when their kids are in danger. What are you talking about? People do wild shit when their kids are in danger.
They're setting up a trap or an insurance plan. He just stood around waiting for Goku to make a decision. And then when Goku showed up, with Piccolo no less, Raditz got killed by the 2 people least likely to team up. Honestly, Raditz didn't even—
Raditz doesn't know that. Raditz has no idea that Goku and Piccolo are the least likely to team up. He doesn't know their history. He doesn't know their enemies. He doesn't even know Piccolo's still a bad guy at this point. What the fuck are we talking about? Yeah, Taken's great examples, Davis 90. No, Raditz, unironically, Raditz should be in like the B or A tier for his plan. He has got a solid plan. It just doesn't work.
Need a scouter to see how bad this strategy was. There was no long-term thinking, no backup plan, nothing.
What do you mean no backup plan? Him coming to Earth to recruit Goku is the plan. Him kidnapping and threatening Gohan is the backup plan. What do you this dude is so wrong.
Just brute force and bad timing. I'm putting Raditz in D tier.
No,
and that's me being
that's wrong. That is wrong. Raditz is B or A tier.
Generous. Dr. Gero is the kind of villain that doesn't need to lift a finger to be terrifying. His brain did all of the heavy lifting. He wasn't a frontline fighter like the rest of these guys, but his hatred for Goku fueled some of the most—
Wait, fuck that to what, Dax? To my take or his take?
Dangerous threats in the series.
Okay,
Gero created androids 17 and 18, who in one timeline killed every single Z fighter and took over the Earth. And then there's Cell, a bio-android so dangerous he spanned multiple timelines. Gero literally died in the main timeline, but his creations carried out his will anyway. He had backup androids, a supercomputer finishing his work, and even put his own brain into Android 20 so he could live on. Sure, he got offed by his own androids in a twist of irony, but that doesn't take away from the fact that his master plan was basically responsible for one of the darkest timelines in Dragon Ball. He was this close to—
To be fair, if any villain in in Dragon Ball Z, not necessarily Dragon Ball as a whole, but any villain in Z gets the Z tier, it should be Gero. Gero should 100% get the Z tier.
Breaking the franchise. For sheer foresight, impact, and the chaos he created after his death, Dr. Gero earns his spot in Z tier. King Piccolo was the first true villain in Dragon Ball with a legitimate master plan. After being sealed away for years, he gets released and wastes no time reminding the world who's boss. His plan was simple yet effective. Kill the world's best fighters, use the Dragon Balls to regain his youth, and eliminate any resistance to claim the Earth as his playground. What really makes it genius was that once he got his wish, he straight up killed Shenron. That's wild. No one else in Dragon Ball history thought to do that. Just destroy the dragon and guarantee your wish can't be undone. And after that, he crowned himself King of the Earth, started naming holidays after himself, and implemented a system where he'd randomly—
Hey, catch you later, Fried Monkey. Thanks a mil, bud. It's been emotional. Until next time, yeah, I'm happy to do it, brother. Anytime. Yeah, I think King Piccolo should be an A tier. I do. I think King Piccolo should be A tier.
Destroy cities every year. This guy was living the villain dream. His only downfall? Underestimating Goku. He had multiple chances to kill him, but kept letting his ego get in the way. Still, even in death, he launched a final contingency plan by spitting out an egg that would become his reincarnation, Piccolo Jr. That's forward-thinking villainy. For all that, King Piccolo is sitting comfortably in A tier.
All right, I will agree with A tier. A tier is a good spot for King Piccolo. He's not quite Gero, but he's up there.
Majin Buu is one of the strongest threats in Dragon Ball Z, but in terms of plan,
F tier. Saying right now, F tier. Buu don't make plans. Buu is chaos incarnate. That's the opposite plan. F fucking tier. And I like Buu. I like Buu. I like the
blob
Buu.
of chaos. The thing is, Buu didn't even come up with the idea of revival or destruction. That was Bibbidi and later Bobbidi's doing. Buu was just a tool, a force of destruction passed down through generations until he was finally revived on Earth. And once he's back, pure carnage. Fat Buu is kind of innocent and chaotic neutral, but when he gets angry, all bets are off. Super Buu was more deliberate, absorbing fighters like Gotenks, Piccolo.
All right, so now here's the question. Yeah, like, is each Buu different? Because Fat Buu wasn't even really a villain. Like he said, Fat Boo's chaotic neutral. Super Buu is like B tier. He's got a plan to take everybody over, absorb everybody, but after that, what does he do? He doesn't have a long-term plan. He has a plan for victory, but not a long-term plan. So, like, are you going to separate these into different characters? I'm curious. Oh, that's awesome. A cat named Boo because there's an M on his head. That's
Gohan
awesome.
To increase his power, but there was still no real end game. He wasn't trying to rule the world, build an empire, or seek revenge. He just wanted to fight, destroy, and occasionally turn people into candy. Kid Buu took that even further by being destruction incarnate. So yeah, he was dangerous, but there was no strategy. Just vibes, screams, and explosions. Buu's getting F tier.
All right. If you're going to wrap all the Boos up into one, I mean, F tier, because even with Super Buu, yeah, he had a plan for beating everybody, but what was he going to do after that? I agree. F tier.
Red Ribbon Army had a solid setup. They were a global crime organization feared across the earth, equipped with high-tech weapons, elite operatives, and a military force that dwarfed anything else at the time. Their goal? Total world domination. And to make sure they stayed on top forever, they sought out the Dragon Balls. Sounds simple, but smart. Until you realize their fearless leader, Commander Red, wanted the Dragon Balls not for power or control, but just to make himself taller. That's it. All that manpower, all that sacrifice, all that bloodshed for a couple of inches. Nope.
Now, to be fair, the wish notwithstanding, like, they don't really need the wish. Like, the Red Ribbon Army got the tools to do all. Let's be like, Goku's a Saiyan, right? Goku's a Saiyan. Now, we don't know that at the time, but Goku is an otherworldly being in a time where they didn't even know aliens were a thing. Their plan would work without the Dragon Balls. His wish being to be taller, that's not really a big deal. Yeah, you're right, person. That's the wish Kato would make. But no, like, his wish to be taller, he doesn't really need to wish for anything from the dragon. The Red Ribbon Army is strong enough. They could take whatever they wanted, if not for Goku.
Nobody in the army knew this until the very end, and when the truth came out, Red was shot by his own second in command. Goku might have taken them down, but they were already doomed by poor leadership. This is one of those plans that had so much potential, but fell apart because the guy at the top was a complete clown. The Red Ribbon Army lands in...
Alright, C tier's fair. I was gonna say C tier. C tier's fair.
C tier. Alright, Beerus isn't a villain in the traditional sense, but let's be real. He rolled up to Earth threatening to blow it up over a...
Nah, dude. F tier. Beerus is F. Now, Beerus is a Z tier character, but his plan is straight F tier.
Premonition and a lack of pudding. That's villain behavior. But he wasn't just being petty. He was on a mission. After having a vision about a powerful figure known as the Super Saiyan God, he decided to...
Here's why. Now, I-Man says, bro, here's why his plan is F tier. Because his whole plan is predicated on a dream he had, a prophecy, that it already is established. His prophecies never really come true, right? His prophecies never really come true. Whis makes a joke about that. So, his prophecies never come true. He needs to find a Super Saiyan God in a timeline when all but 2 Saiyans have been, well, 3 if you count Broly, have been eradicated. So Saiyans are nearly extinct. His prophecies never come to fruition. Like, Beerus doesn't have a plan, really. Beerus don't really have a plan.
Track one down and see if he could give him a challenge.
Exactly,
and
Dax.
even though he ends up sparing the planet because of food and Goku...
Man, you're missing the point. It's not about how strong they are. This whole thing is ranking every Dragon Ball villain's plan from genius to garbage. We're purely talking about their plan. By that logic, Beerus is F tier. Or D tier the best, but F tier.
Whose tenacity, he did complete his mission. He found the Super Saiyan God, had his fight, and left satisfied. Was it a galaxy brain master plan? Not really, but it was effective, clean, and got him exactly what he wanted. So for what it was, Beerus gets a respectable—
Bruh, fuck that. A plan and a desire aren't the same thing. Beerus had a desire. He wanted to fight the Super Saiyan God. He didn't even have a plan to bring out the Super Saiyan God. There was no plan.
B tier. Goma had a lot of potential as a major threat in Dragon Ball Daima, but man did he drop the ball hard. His fear was understandable. After Majin Buu's defeat, he was worried the Dragon Team would eventually bring their fight to the Demon Realm. So to get ahead of the problem, he used the Dragon Balls to turn Goku and the others into kids, thinking that'd keep them away. Here's the problem. Nobody on Earth even knew much about the Demon Realm before this. Goma basically made himself a target.
Yeah, so operating off bad information was what Goma did. Doesn't mean your plan is a bad plan. Goma had a good plan based off the information he had.
Instead of keeping Earth's fighters out, he got them curious, and they invaded the one place he didn't want them to go. On top of that, the only real line of defense he had—
Goma, again, I'm not saying Goma wasn't a moron, but his plan is not a bad plan. Like imagine this in the realm of being a world leader. Let's put this in the real world. You're a world leader, and you see there's some goddamn superpowers going at each other. Let's say you're Japan, right? You're Japan, and you see America and Russia going at it. And your whole thing is, oh, fuck. If their shit comes here, we're fucked. Let's try and nip this in the bud. Like, it's not unfounded. It does make sense.
Were the Tamagami, and they weren't even evil. Goma spent most of the series either hiding or panicking, and when things started slipping out of his control, he turned to the evil third eye as a last-ditch effort. That gave him power, but by then it was too little too late. His plan had already backfired, so for all the worry he caused, Goma still lands in C tier.
Alright, C tier is fair. Oh yeah, I think C tier is fair.
Super 17 is a cool design with decent power.
Man, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be 100% real. I don't even remember Super 17's plan. Like, does he even have one? He only has 4 episodes. He is the Dragon Ball villain with the shortest arc in the history of all Dragon Ball. I don't remember his plan whatsoever.
But when it comes to strategy, there's nothing there. He was just a puppet, literally the product of Dr. Gero and Dr. Mew fusing the original Android 17 with a duplicate from Hell. That fusion created a dangerous, energy-absorbing monster that decimated the Z-Fighters and gave Goku one of his toughest battles in GT. But none of that was his idea. Every move he made—
I think the problem with your comparison is that the real world is mapped out. There's no equivalent to the Demon Realm. The cast didn't know. They did know it existed, though. The cast knew it existed. Supreme Kai told them the Demon Realm exists in the Buu arc. They do know about it. Because Deborah came from there. They fought Deborah. Like, yeah, they do know about the Demon Realm. And that doesn't mean they would have any interest in going there or whatnot, but they did know about it.
It came from someone else's programming.
And Goma doesn't know that they don't know / don't care. Goma knows that Deborah went there. Goma knows Deborah got beat there.
He didn't talk much, didn't plan much, and in the end, he got taken out because he stood still too long and let himself get blasted. There's no brilliance there, just brute force and missed opportunities.
F tier.
Super 17 goes in F tier.
That's fair.
Easily.
F tier.
When
fair.
Vegeta first arrived, he came in hot with a plan. Collect the—
Alright. Vegeta's plan is simple but effective. Vegeta should be in A tier.
Dragon Balls, wish for immortality, and eventually use that power to overthrow Frieza. Honestly, it made sense. He had motive, he had muscle, and he had backup in the form of Nappa. But the problem was his ego. Vegeta grossly underestimated the strength of Earth's defenders, especially after hearing how Raditz went out. You'd think that would have made him more cautious, but nope. He charged in, confident he could handle anything, and nearly died in the process.
Bro, no. Bullshit. First of all, Vegeta had the dub. Vegeta won. Okay, Vegeta won. Like, he gets tricked to the end. Okay, fair enough. But Vegeta effectively won. Nobody aside from Goku could have even stood a chance. His ego doesn't matter. His plan was fine. That's A tier.
Yes. His plan fell apart the moment Goku showed up and Nappa got taken out. From there, it was just Vegeta improvising, turning into a great ape, using dirty tactics, and barely making it off the planet alive. His strategy wasn't awful, but for someone with his pride and experience, he really should have been better prepared. Vegeta's going in C tier.
Bullshit. If you're gonna lowball Vegeta's plan, it would be B tier at the lowest. That's bullshit.
Heaters were slick, no doubt. They played the long game, manipulating Granola into fighting the Saiyans, tricking Goku and Vegeta into exhausting themselves, and using the chaos to sneak a wish that made Gas the strongest warrior in the universe. At face value, that's a smart move, but they didn't account for one thing: Frieza. Turns out, the guy they were trying to replace had been training in a hyperbolic time chamber for 10 years.
I'm getting real tired of his argument being like, oh, well, they didn't foresee this. Oh, well, they didn't foresee... That doesn't make a plan a bad plan. Obviously, shit has to happen for the good guys to win. All right? Plans go south. Plans go sideways. I'm real tired of this. Oh, but they didn't see this coming. That makes it a bad plan. That's not what that means, plan something.
When he finally showed up, he one-shotted Gas like it was nothing and exposed that he'd known about their plan for decades. Not to mention Elec, the one really pulling the strings, kept everyone in the dark, even his own family. If they'd worked together as a unit instead of letting Gas shoulder everything, maybe things would have gone differently. The bones of a great plan were there, but the execution had too many cracks. The Heaters are getting a B tier. The Shadow Dragons had such a cool
Alright, B tier I think is fair.
Concept. Born from the overuse of the Dragon Balls, they represented the consequence of tampering with fate too many times. That setup alone was enough to make one of the most unique threats in Dragon Ball GT. Their plan? Simple. Destroy everything. Wreak havoc as punishment for Earth's dependency on wishes. And at first, that sounded promising.
I don't think that's a plan. I'll be real. The Shadow Dragons are more like a force of nature. I don't think this is a plan.
But the execution? Meh. Most of the dragons were weak, gimmicky, or went down due to weird plot conveniences. The only serious threats were Ice, Nova, and Omega Shenron. Omega, in particular, was the final boss of GT, and he did feel like an apocalyptic force. If we're ranking him alone, he'd probably be A tier. But as a group, they fumbled hard. Cool idea, messy results. The Shadow Dragons go in D tier, with Omega getting an honorary A.
Alright, if he's gonna split them up like that, then I guess that's fair, although you should have split up Boo if that was what you were gonna do.
A tier nod. Cell's introduction was wild. He wasn't just from the future, he was from another future. A version of Cell that killed future Trunks, stole his time machine, and came back to absorb androids 17 and 18 in the main timeline. That alone is genius.
Yeah, Cell A tier, dude. Cell A tier.
He manipulated events, snuck around undetected for a while, and slowly powered up until he could force his way into perfection. But once he got it, he kind of lost the plot. Instead of...
Dude, okay. I'm tired of this fucking excuse. Yes, bad guy is overconfident. Duh. It makes sense in the context. He's part Saiyan. He's got all these Saiyan abilities in him. He's got Frieza in him. And no one's able to stop. Dude, even when he blows his ass up, Goku dies, Cell comes back. That's not losing the plot. He is making the correct moves with the information he has.
Finishing off the Z-Fighters immediately, he decided to hold the Cell Games, a literal tournament where he let everyone power up and train for 10 days. That Saiyan blood in his system definitely kicked in. He wanted a challenge, but it cost him everything. After Gohan ascended, Cell got destroyed. Twice. His initial infiltration and build-up were brilliant, but once he hit perfection, it was all ego. No pun intended. That keeps him locked in at C tier.
Nah, dude. Cell is an A tier plan. A tier plan. This is, dude, nah, this guy don't know shit. Yeah.
Baby
Fake
is
fan.
hands
Fake
down
fan.
one of the most calculated villains in GT.
Baby is Z tier, and I will hear no arguments. Baby is fucking Z tier.
In Dragon Ball overall. Created from the DNA of the Tuffles, Baby's whole existence revolved around revenge. He patiently waited, infected Dr. Mew to orchestrate his birth, and when the time came, he made his move. Baby took over the Earth, possessed Vegeta, used Bulma's tech to enhance himself, and revived the Tuffle race. He wasn't just fighting Goku, he was making a statement. The son of the Saiyan that destroyed his people was now his puppet.
Yeah, the Baby
and Baby
arc
didn't
is
stop
Apex
there.
GT.
He used the Black Star Dragon Balls to move Earth's population to his new planet Tuffle and transformed into a golden great ape to overpower Goku. Everything he did was smart, efficient, and personal. Baby didn't just want power, he wanted poetic justice. If plot didn't step in, he would have won. This one's easy. Z tier.
Agreed. Agreed. Baby is Z tier for sure.
Piccolo Jr. is basically the sequel nobody asked for, but ended up loving anyway. He came into the scene as King Piccolo's reincarnation, determined to pick up where his father left off and take over the world. That was literally his entire identity at first. Finish the job, get revenge on Goku, and rule everything. And to be fair, he was a serious threat. He trained in secret, got ridiculously strong, and nearly beat Goku in the World Martial Arts Tournament. But strategy-wise, there wasn't anything groundbreaking here. He was operating off an inherited plan. Everything—
I mean, this is all true, but this should be a default C tier, because the original plan was a good plan.
King Piccolo did laid the groundwork for Piccolo Jr. to rise up, but Jr. didn't really evolve it much. He was stronger,
me saying
smarter,
fake fan
and more
was I was
collected than
being
his dad,
facetious.
but not nearly as cunning. If anything, his greatest accomplishment was surviving long enough to become Goku's ally in the future. But that's a story for another video. For now, based on his initial plan and execution, I'm giving Piccolo Jr. a solid B tier. Zamasu—
I can live with a B. Alright. Dax, before you spurg out, I know you hate this arc, but be objective. Zama's plan is fine. His plan is, in fact, it's good based on his beliefs and his worldview. Zamos is probably easy A tier. His plan, I know you hate the arc, but his plan is fine.
Zamasu had one of the most terrifyingly well thought out plans in Dragon Ball history. This wasn't just some I want to be immortal or rule the galaxy scheme. No, Zamasu genuinely believed he was cleansing the multiverse of sin. He saw mortals as inherently flawed, corrupt, and dangerous, and came to the conclusion that the only way to fix that was to wipe them all out. And the scary part? He actually pulled it off, at least for a while. He used the Super Dragon Balls to switch bodies with Goku, becoming Goku Black. He teamed up with an alternate version of himself, killed off gods across timelines, destroyed Supreme Kai, and caused the erasure of multiple universes worth of deities. That's methodical divine genocide. And when things got too chaotic, he fused with himself into a corrupted, near-immortal being that not even a fusion of Goku and Vegeta could beat. Honestly, the only reason he lost was because Zeno showed up and erased everything.
And I get that people hate that ending. That's fair. I ain't gonna talk about that. We talked about that at length. But as far as his plan goes, pretty goddamn kino.
Zamasu literally planned so far ahead that the plot had to wipe him off the board. That's a Z tier plan through and through. Moro was one of the most terrifying threats introduced in Dragon Ball Super, and when he first appeared, he gave off big galactic end boss energy. After escaping the galactic prison, his goal was to regain his lost magic and become powerful enough to consume entire planets again. He wasted no time draining energy from Namek, beating Goku and Vegeta even with their upgraded forms, and bringing back a wave of prisoners to back him up. At one point, nobody could really stop him. He was
I ain't turning this shit off. The manga's great.
Absorbing planets, growing stronger, and making it clear that he didn't just want power, he wanted everything. But that's kinda where things fell apart. Moro could have used the Dragon Balls for something game-breaking. Immortality, infinite power, heck, even erasing his enemies.
The fuck you,
but
man.
instead, he used the wish to free a bunch of prisoners. He said they were a stepping stone toward consuming planets, but let's
Dex number 2, Zambas' F tier plan. I stand by that. Fuck you, Leon.
Shut up, bitch!
I love you, Dex.
Stop it. Get some help.
There it is.
Let's be honest, he could have skipped all that. And while he did get powerful, his overall end goal was kind of hollow. Eat planets forever? That's it? No empire, no deeper purpose, just cosmic gluttony. He had his moments, sure, and for a while it looked like he'd win, but I think his downfall came from not thinking—
I agree. I completely agree they need to do a Super 2. 100% agree.
Far enough ahead. For someone with ancient magic and massive power, his vision was surprisingly short-sighted. Moro goes in C tier. Frieza's plan was about as clean and calculated as it gets. He was already the most feared tyrant in the universe, ruling with an iron fist and wiping out entire races on a whim. Just ask the Saiyans. His empire was thriving, but Frieza wanted more. He wanted eternal life to cement his rule permanently. So what does he do? He heads straight to Namek with his top-tier soldiers to collect the Dragon Balls. He even had the foresight to monitor Vegeta's scouter transmissions from Earth, which is how we found out about the Namekian Dragon Balls in the first place. That alone shows you he was already playing
I say
chess
second
while
best.
others
I'm a
were
cell
playing
art
checkers.
guy, but yeah,
And
Namek
honestly,
Saga's good
things
too.
were going his way for a while. If the Earthlings hadn't showed up, and if Vegeta hadn't gone rogue, Frieza probably would have gotten his wish. And even with those interruptions, he adapted. He called in the Ginyu Force. He stepped into battle himself when things got dicey. Frieza wasn't just some brute. He knew when to delegate and when to take action. The only thing he didn't see coming was Goku turning into a Super Saiyan, which at that point was still a mythical transformation
So far,
that no
yes,
one had
only in
seen
the
in
manga.
generations. In the grand scheme, Frieza's plan only failed because of a 1-in-a-million fluke and the intervention of multiple unpredicted players. His ambition was clear. His method was direct.
But how? No, you can't give Frieza the like, oh, well, you know what? His plan didn't go according to plan because of all this unexpected. You did sell dirty with the same logic. You did sell dirty with the same logic.
And he came ridiculously close to pulling it off. He even planned to destroy Namek out of spite when it all fell apart, just to be petty and make sure no one got what they wanted. That level of contingency? Cold-blooded genius. For all these reasons, Frieza's going straight to Z tier. He's the blueprint for a villain who could have won, and honestly should have won, if the plot didn't demand otherwise. So yeah, some of these villains had galaxy brain schemes, and others probably should have slept on it. Let me know who you think had the best plan and who got done dirty. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's next. Catch you in—
That was a pretty good video. I mean, that was a good video. I disagree with a lot of it, but I like the structure. I like the production quality, all that. There's the video if you want to drop a like or sub. Guys, time to set up the raid. We're going to raid right into Gooch. Gooch is starting in about 15 minutes. We're going to raid right into the Gooch. Why is my raid mechanic not working? Hold on a sec. What the fuck? There we go. Okay, I had to refresh. All right, let me set up the raid real quick. And then I will see y'all in like 15 minutes on Gooch's show. It's going to be a good goddamn time. I have no idea what we're talking about on Gooch's show tonight, but it's going to be a good time because it's always a good time on Gooch's show. All right. Here it is. Bingo, bango, bongo. There it is. Thank y'all so much. Sunday special stream achieved. We went about 4 fucking hours. You love to see it. Make sure y'all keep hitting tier 3 if you want to keep seeing this. We will definitely do this again as long as y'all keep hitting tier 3. Thank you so much for the donos. Thank you so much to everybody who showed up. Make sure you get in Gooch's chat. Type Vital Idol Raid. And until next time, it's still here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.